Chapter 1657. The vast grave sea did not even have a sovereign personage. However, 10,000 years ago, a divine vein realm expert actually appeared. Xiaochen added, "This senior really takes good care of the grave sea." Xiaochen smiled for some reason, startling Yang Qing slightly. Something seemed to be wrong. Only then did Xiaochen relax a little. When Xiaochen arrived on the deck of the ship, he happened to run into the smiling Yang Qing. Xiaochen was slightly stunned. "Miss Qing, what can I do for you?" Seeing that Xiaochen did not say anything, Yang Qing revealed an expression of understanding, thinking that he tacitly agreed. "Hence, I need to grab hold of everything, any fortuitous encounters that I can." Xiaochen thought to himself, but his expression did not change, giving off an unfathomable feeling. The foundation of working together was based on the two sides being roughly equal in strength. If one side was too strong, the other side would be in danger. At that time, the elites of the three blessed lands will all enter the fiendish demon battlefield. The intensity of the competition is easy to imagine. If we work together, our chances will increase significantly. How difficult would it be to produce a sovereign personage? However, the white-bearded old man did not know what Xiaochen was thinking. He revealed a "you can't do it" look in his eyes as he smiled and said, "So, you had best not think about it. However, given your potential, entering the inner sect is just a matter of time. Your future will be bright as well." Xiaochen entered deep thought. Then, a light flashed in his eyes as he said, "Continue. You have successfully piqued my interest." When Xiaochen heard this, a ripple appeared in his heart. A divine vein realm expert. Perhaps it was when Yang Qing stood before him without hesitation, helping him block Bai Feng's sword strike. "I have been waiting for this opportunity. Once I obtain a fortuitous encounter in there, I will be able to soar to the heavens in one step, greatly increasing my chances of advancing to the Cloud Sea realm." Xiaochen would definitely be relatively safe if he entered while preserving his strength. A demonic genius outstanding talent like Yang Qing would definitely be able to cultivate to peak major primal core realm, a realm that ordinary people could only look up to. If Yang Qing knew Xiaochen's true combat prowess, she would not dare to work together with him. It was unknown whether the other party was feigning ignorance or not. Xiaochen explained, "It's nothing. I just feel some admiration for the strongest of the Grave Sea's 10 great bladesmen. What kind of demeanor does he have? How about it? Do you want to cooperate? The fiendish demon battlefield rarely opens. At that time, with people helping each other, it will be much safer." As expected, I was right. He could join the Purple Flame sect without taking the test and not have to pay anything. Yang Qing rolled her eyes at Xiaochen and said, "I thought you didn't know anything." When Yang Qing saw the subtle change in Xiaochen's expression, she knew that Xiaochen really did not know about this fiendish demon battlefield. But after thinking about it, he decided not to say it. Yang Qing continued, "This fiendish demon battlefield opens once every 20 years. With my strength, I could have entered the main sect a long time ago. However, in order to give me a better opportunity, my master has never allowed me to go." The white-bearded old man smiled and said, "It's not that this old man is looking down on you, but if you want to enter Elder Ye's tutelage, better not think about it. Do you know Pan Huang? Elder Ye's master is such a legendary character. Over the years, countless outstanding talents have wanted to enter Elder Ye's tutelage." "That's a pretty good suggestion. Very well, I'll tell you about it. At the intersection of the three blessed lands, there is a remnant known as the Fiendish Demon Battlefield. Fiendish demons, you should know about the martial epic's birth, the era when fiendish demons wreaked havoc, right? Sometimes, it was not necessary to tell the truth about everything. It was best for both sides. The title of sovereign among men was well-deserved. Even in the central great realm, Sovereign Yi was an overlord-level character who could move about unhindered. After all, most people would spend most of their lives in the Purple Flame sect. It was hard to avoid interacting with them in the future. However, it was just a matter of time. It was hard to say if Xiaochen wanted to advance to the Cloud Sea realm. If Xiaochen forcefully told Yang Qing the truth, they might not get along well. It was best not to say. Sovereign Realm, the third stage of the Cloud Sea realm, the Sovereign Realm. This was simply inconceivable and shocking. Senior Lu, do you have any news about the Purple Flame Sect's Senior Yi Zifeng? Xiao Chen smiled and did not say anything. He knew that the other party was purposely mocking him. Xiao Chen did not retort, just quietly waiting for the other party to continue. As Xiao Chen watched the other party leave, he smiled faintly and left alone. Xiao Chen's heart was as clear as a mirror. This white-bearded old man just saw that he had potential. Xiao Chen wanted to establish a good relationship with the white-bearded old man. Not to mention what he wanted, at the very least, not to offend him. Yang Qing revealed an expression of joy when she heard this. It's a deal. And Yang Qing blinked, looking at Xiao Chen with some anticipation. Although she did not know what this fiendish demon battlefield was, she did not know what it was. Xiao Chen nodded slightly and smiled softly. Not to mention anything else, at the very least, the title is that of Pan Huang's grand disciple. That would scare me to death. The fiendish demon battlefield is the place where the predecessors of the various races fought intense battles with the fiendish demons. Coincidentally, there is one in the Grave Sea. Furthermore, 10,000 years ago, a powerhouse of the Grave Sea took it for himself and used it as a cultivation ground. Good, it's settled. Elder Yi. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. Then he followed the other party to a quiet corridor in the worship. It was not a bad idea to bring this girl along. He could treat it as repaying her for this favor. You are also here for the fiendish demon battlefield, right? Yang Qing asked as she looked at Xiao Chen. When Yang Qing heard that, she smiled. Before this powerhouse died, he returned to the Grave Sea from the Central Great Realm. He left behind his inheritance and mantle in the fiendish demon battlefield to benefit the later generations of the Grave Sea. Naturally, Xiao Chen was happy with this. He started chatting with the white-bearded old man in the room. Yang Qing smiled and said, "Does that mean that you agree?" The old order had just been destroyed, and the new order had not been established yet. This period of time was known as the Dark Period of the Martial Epoch, or the Era of Fiendish Chaos. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes in his heart. Not only do I know him, but I also have the Saber Sovereign Medallion. In name, I am Pan Huang's disciple. Yang Qing glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "Come with me." What's there to agree to? I don't even know what the fiendish demon battlefield is. What's there to talk about? Xiao Chen revealed a playful smile as he looked at the other party. Understanding dawned on Xiao Chen. The first time he saw Yang Qing, he realized that she had hidden her strength. It turned out that it was for the fiendish demon battlefield. That explained everything. This cultivation realm already reached the limits of human cultivation. Any further and it would surpass the limits of human cultivation. Xiao Chen nodded. He knew about this. The Book of the Epics had detailed records of it. Xiao Chen originally wanted to tell Yang Qing the truth. She had underestimated his strength and that the two of them did not have the foundation to work together. After saying that, Yang Qing paused. This powerhouse is the only divine vein realm expert born in the Grave Sea. Of course, the three blessed paradises were also intentionally gathered together by him. Unfortunately, the younger generations of the Grave Sea are disappointing. Not to mention divine vein realm experts, they have not even produced a sovereign personage for a long time already. As far as Xiao Chen knew, the strongest person in the Grave Sea was a holy venerate. The Cloud Sea realm's second minor realm was the Holy Light realm. Furthermore, there were very few of them, less than 5. The immortal Tao had collapsed, but the martial Tao had yet to appear. Cycle no longer existed, and the heavenly Tao no longer existed. The entire Great Thousand Realms was in chaos. Demons danced around, and fiendish demons were born amid the chaos, bringing disaster to the world. When Yang Qing heard that, she revealed a strange expression. She felt that she could not figure out the person before her at all. The white-bearded old man showed a strange expression. He asked somewhat warily, "What are you thinking of doing?" "That is our sect's supreme elder. He has been in closed-door cultivation for the past few years and has not come out at all." Xiao Chen casually said a few words before taking his leave. It was fine as long as he knew that Yi Zifeng was still in the Purple Flame sect. Xiao Chen explained, In the entire history of the Grave Sea, he is the only divine vein realm powerhouse. If we go any further, that would be too long ago. Only later did the sages of the various sects appear. The 3,000 great Tao materialize and suppress the fiendish demons. Only after a new order was established did the martial epoch officially begin. Chapter 1658. The ship continued onward, heading for the Black Cave Mountain. However, ever since he saw Xiao Chen's strength, he had never seen it before. Initially, the elites of the branches, who were not willing to interact with Xiao Chen due to their status, started to try to befriend him. Aside from Leng Yuan, who was also a bladesman, Xiao Chen did not want to bother with the others, choosing to enter closed-door cultivation for the past few days. 3 days later, the ship passed through an invisible barrier. The spiritual energy suddenly changed. Everyone felt like they had entered an unfamiliar space. Many disciples on the deck could not stand stably, swaying left and right. The pure and dense spiritual energy that came from the Blessed Land gave off an omnipresent pressure that covered the sky and covered the earth. Xiao Chen's physique had already reached the level of a major primal core venerate. Furthermore, with his blue dragon bloodline, he only needed some time to adapt. He felt like he had encountered a spring breeze, feeling incredibly comfortable. The others blushed slightly, clearly finding this somewhat taxing. They needed some time to adapt. After all, the level of this space and the spiritual energy it contained were very different. Xiao Chen looked around. This somewhat unfamiliar place before him had a sky as blue as if it had been washed clean. It looked like a sapphire, giving off a dreamy beauty. The strangest thing was that the seawater under the ship was clear and transparent, turning into ordinary seawater. No, it was even clearer than ordinary seawater, filled with spiritual energy. The fish swimming in it were filled with immortal spiritual energy, very similar to the spiritual fish that Xiao Chen had seen in the past. Every blade of grass and every tree gave off a faint Taoist immortal qi. When one looked around, it seemed like everything here was filled with an aura of spirituality. The elite disciples from the various branches adjusted to this place, all of them revealing excited expressions. Inside the Blessed Land, everything seemed very different. The plants, bricks, tiles, buildings, and the level of space were all much stronger than the outside world. Don't just look around. Regulate your energy first and get used to the Blessed Land as soon as possible. Elder Lu walked out of the ship and reminded everyone with a stern expression. The others sorted out their emotions and closed their eyes to regulate their energy, then sat down cross-legged. Xiao Chen did not feel any discomfort. He stood there casually, continuing to look around. Everything about the Blessed Enclave surprised him. Cultivating in such a place was like being an immortal in the past. No wonder everyone fought to get in. The outstanding talents that came out of the Blessed Lands were also very proud and arrogant. Back in the Pirate Hall, Jiang Xian and Ling Yu had done the same. Speaking of which, if Xiao Chen remembered correctly, Ling Yu was also from the Black Cave Mountain, a Blessed Land. He just did not know which sect he was in. Elder Lu did not find the standing Xiao Chen strange. He walked over and pointed to a peak in front. That is our Purple Flame sect. There are a few more peaks behind us, and they are all subordinate peaks of our sect. The rank 3 sects that were stationed here only had 2 peaks of the Black Cave Mountain at most. Our Purple Ember sect has 5, not including the main sect. This is the foundation of a rank 4 sect. There was a hint of arrogance in Elder Lu's words. The rank 3 sects that could be stationed here are all peak existences among rank 3 sections. However, compared to our Purple Ember sect, they are not worth mentioning. Xiao Chen looked up. The Black Cave Mountain was an extremely vast mountain range in the middle of the sea. Its shape was irregular, as if someone had purposely arranged it. The peaks were very scattered. Every mountain peak was filled with a vast amount of pure heaven-earth yuan qi that grew and multiplied endlessly. As a result, the peaks shrouded in a layer of dreamy spiritual energy mist, looking very majestic. Xiao Chen's gaze paused and fixed on the peak that Elder Lu pointed to. He thought to himself, no wonder there are so many subordinate peaks. It turns out that this is one of the 2 main peaks. Which sect does the other main peak belong to? Xiao Chen asked Elder Lu. Elder Lu's expression changed slightly when he heard that. It's the Divine Firmament sect, the other rank 4 sect in the Black Cave Mountain. Xiao Qin had some understanding of geomancy. The two main peaks were the center of the Black Cave Mountain. They were like towering pillars supporting the sky, standing side by side with the world. They gave off boundless might. Even a cloud sea expert would not dare to barge into this peak. However, the auras above the two main peaks were different. Electric light soared into the sky from the Divine Firmament sect's main peak. Purple chi and auspicious chi circled above. The Purple Flame sect was slightly weaker. In the past few years, the Divine Firmament sect should have held the upper hand in the competition between the two sections. However, the difference was not that great. Aside from the sea and the mountain peaks, Xiao Qin also saw several continents and rivers in the distance in the Blessed Land. Just at this moment, the spiritual energy mist around the main peak of the Purple Flame sect split into a few strands and formed a multicolored path that approached from afar and landed before the ship. Go on. This is our sect's welcoming light. The group of people showed excited expressions as they boarded the welcoming light one after another. Their bodies immediately floated up and flew towards the Purple Flame sect. Many disciples from other sects on the foreign ships looked at the people who boarded the welcoming light with envy on their faces. To be able to execute the welcoming light, one had to be a rank 4 sect that occupied the main peak. Sects were ranked according to rank. The difference of one rank was like the difference between heaven and earth. After a while, the welcoming light vanished, and the group landed at the foot of the main peak. An administrator of the main peak had been waiting for them for a long time. Elder Lu, I have been waiting for you, the red-clad administrator at the mountain tablet, who seemed to be old acquaintances with Elder Lu, said as he stepped forward. Elder Lu smiled and said, Administrator He, you are too polite. These are all chosen by the sect branch. All of them have great potential and will be able to replenish the main peak with new blood. I hope that is the case. In recent years, the Purple Flame sect's new generation disciples are no match for the Divine Firmament sect. After that, I will arrange for them to join the outer sect. How they fare in the future will depend on their luck. Elder Lu replied with a smile. Then, he whispered a few words into the red-clad administrator's ear. The red-clad administrator's eyes lit up as he looked at Xiao Qin, revealing a suspicious expression. Follow the old rules and bring these new disciples to the External Affairs Hall for the outer sect elders to choose. The red-clad administrator instructed, and someone immediately led Yang Qing and the others away. You stay. The red deacon pointed at Xiao Qin and said calmly. Yang Qing followed the person in front of her and glanced at Xiao Qin. Then she sent a voice projection. The fiendish demon battlefield will open in 2 months. I will use these 2 months to enter the inner sect. I hope you won't disappoint me. Only by entering the inner sect would one qualify to enter the fiendish demon battlefield alive. Yang Qing said this because she was somewhat worried that Xiao Qin would not be able to enter the inner sect. In that case, she would have to find someone else to work with, but the risk would inevitably increase. He still hoped that Xiao Qin could join the inner sect. After Yang Qing and the other branch disciples left, the red-clad administrator looked at Xiao Qin and said, Show me your recommendation letter. The red-clad administrator casually inspected it. After verifying its authenticity, he stopped looking at it. Elder Lu told me about your talent. He guaranteed that you would not need to take the test. He even asked me to guarantee that you could enter the inner sect directly. The red-shirt deacon said slowly, bit by bit. Xiao Qin felt surprised. Unexpectedly, this Elder Lu thought so highly of him. How about it? If you are willing, I will do that. Directly entering the inner sect is something that many new disciples dream of, the red-clad administrator asked rather casually. The red-clad administrator asked rather casually, as no one would refuse. He did not believe that Xiao Qin would either. Xiao Qin did not answer directly. Instead, he asked to confirm, I would like to ask if Senior Yi Zifeng is still in the Purple Flame sect. Xiao Qin had no choice. He needed to know the most reliable answer. Elder Lu was often outside. It was hard to guarantee that his information was accurate. It was better to ask this red-clad administrator, who was in the sect most of the time. Why are you asking this? Senior Yi Zifeng has not come out of closed-door cultivation for close to 10 years already. However, I am sure that he is still in the sect. The red-clad administrator looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously, not understanding what Xiao Chen meant. Elder Lu said helplessly, "Xiao Chen, it is not that this old man is looking down on you. Just forget about taking Senior Yi Zifeng as your master. He is our sect's supreme elder, one of the stabilizing pillars of the Purple Flame sect. Furthermore, he is Pan Huang's disciple. Say, why are you so stubborn?" When the red-clad administrator heard that, he stroked his goatee and smiled faintly. This was the case for many youths. They entered the Purple Flame sect for Elder Yi Zifeng. Unfortunately, Yi Zifeng was very picky. After so many years, the sect had forcefully requested to take only one person as a disciple. However, Xiao Chen's expression did not change much. As long as Yi Zifeng was around, it was fine. As long as he was sure that Yi Zifeng was around, he could rest assured. With a thought, Pan Huang's saber sovereign medallion appeared in Xiao Chen's palm. Then it started spinning quickly. An aura unique to Pan Huang spread out from the medallion, radiating to every peak of the Purple Flame sect. At the peak of the mountain, where the spiritual energy was the densest, a stone door opened. A stone door opened, and a handsome middle-aged man walked out of it. A hint of suspicion appeared on his face. Master's aura? In the next moment, his figure flickered, silently arriving at the source of the aura. The sudden appearance of the middle-aged man startled the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu. Just as they were about to question him, their expressions changed drastically at the same time. The two bowed at the same time and said fearfully, "Greetings, Martial Grand Uncle." The handsome middle-aged man was none other than Pan Huang's disciple, Senior Yi Zifeng. When Yi Zifeng saw the Pan Huang medallion in Xiao Chen's hand, he immediately understood who Xiao Chen was. "Junior brother, you are here. Why did you not send someone to inform me?" Yi Zifeng said to Xiao Chen with a warm smile. Plop. When Elder Lu heard that, he stumbled in fright and fell to the ground, his heart thumping heavily. "Damn it! Are you trying to scare this old man to death, junior brother?" Elder Lu felt dizzy as he fell to the ground, completely confused. Chapter 1659. Yi Zifeng had once followed Pan Huang for a period of time. He had heard Pan Huang mention the Saber Sovereign Medallion before. Hence, the moment he saw the Saber Sovereign Medallion, he immediately guessed Xiao Chen's identity. Given Pan Huang's means, no one could obtain the Saber Sovereign Medallion through trickery. Only a true bladesman could obtain his recognition. Xiao Chen put away the Saber Sovereign Medallion and performed a cupped fist salute. "Big brother Yi is too serious. This humble one is not worthy of this title." Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and carefully sized up Xiao Chen. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. What a guy, he actually comprehended the Saber Dao Great Dao power. After glancing at the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu, Xiao Chen turned around and said, "My junior brother is here to look for me. I will personally speak to the sect master about his matter. You too, don't leak anything. Don't leak anything." "Yes, Martial Granduncle." Before Yi Zifeng's gaze, the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu felt a mountain of pressure. Sweat trickled down their foreheads as they replied in fear and trepidation. Yi Zifeng revealed a satisfied smile and stretched out his hand. A saber light wrapped around Xiao Chen and soared into the clouds. A long time after Yi Zifeng left, the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu felt the pressure on them vanish, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Martial Grand Uncle has been in closed-door cultivation for so many years. It turns out that he already broke through to Star Venerate long ago. The red-clad administrator looked in the direction that Yi Zifeng disappeared in, revealing an expression of admiration. Elder Lu wiped the sweat off his forehead and said weakly, "Deacon He, I'm sorry. I nearly brought you trouble. This time, I made a mistake and nearly caused trouble." The red-clothed deacon smiled and said, "There's no need to apologize. Elder Lu, you escorted Martial Granduncle's junior brother to our sect, so it's obviously a great merit. Stay here for a day or two, and Martial Granduncle's reward will definitely come." When Elder Lu heard this, he rolled his eyes and smiled in realization. "That's right. Why didn't I think of this? I was almost confused. However, Marshall Granduncle's junior brother, no matter how one listened to it, it sounded a little awkward. But if he didn't call him that, he couldn't think of a better way to address Xiaoqun. Yi Zifeng was the sect's grand elder, and his seniority was even higher than the sect leaders. However, Xiaoqun was his junior brother. This meant that Xiaoqun's seniority had suddenly become even higher than the sect leaders. It was a complete mess. However, Marshall Granduncle, since you said that you cannot leak this matter, there must be a reason for it. You must not leak this information, the red-clothed administrator said as he took a glance at old Lu. Elder Lu smiled and said, "Relax, I've lived for so many years, how can I not know this logic? Come on, long time no see. Let's go for a drink." Yang Qing probably would not have expected that Xiaoqun, whom she was worried about not being able to enter the inner sect, would be picked up by the Purple Flame sect's legend, Yi Zifeng. At the summit of the main peak, a rainbow glow spread out. The dense spiritual energy of heaven and earth gave off a vast pressure. Even with Xiaoqun's physique, which rivaled that of a major primal core cultivator, he still found it somewhat hard to endure and needed some time to adapt. As Xiaoqun sized up the surroundings, he felt startled in his heart. It felt like spiritual energy was gushing out at every moment. The multicolored fog in the surroundings looked like a 7-colored waterfall. Could this be a natural spirit spring? The summit of the main peak happened to be the source of the spring. When Yi Zifeng saw Xiaoqun sizing up the place out of curiosity, he said softly, "The entire blessed land is a natural spirit spring. At every moment, it spews out surging spiritual energy. The summit of the 2 main peaks is the source of the spring. In the entire Grave Sea, most of the spiritual energy comes from the 3 blessed lands. In the past few years, I have been in closed-door cultivation here and rarely come out." When Xiaoqun heard that, he felt slightly startled. This was because of Yi Zifeng's aura, which drifted in the world, seemed to exist yet not exist at the same time. Yi Zifeng was clearly one cultivation realm higher than the star venerates that Xiaoqun had met before. Xiaoqun wondered why Yi Zifeng was still in closed-door cultivation. "Big brother Yi does not seem to be a star venerate anymore. I was no longer one 5 years ago. In that case, why are you still in closed-door cultivation?" Since Yi Zifeng already broke through, what was the point of remaining in closed-door cultivation? He should be traveling the world. He should be exchanging moves with people of the same cultivation realm, verifying his gains from closed-door cultivation, and comprehending them again. Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and did not answer. It seemed like there was more to this. Then, he changed the topic and asked, "Junior brother, are you avoiding trouble?" This question startled Xiaoqun. He looked at Yi Zifeng with some surprise. Before he said anything, Yi Zifeng already knew. "Foresight? Don't find it strange. I know your origins. You should be from the same place as Master, both from the Kunlun realm. As a fellow bladesman, I can tell your talent and strength. If you want to enter a sect, this Purple Flame sect will not be able to accommodate you. Instead, it will hold you back." Yi Zifeng gave his analysis, speaking in an unhurried manner. "Most bladesmen are proud. Unless there is something difficult to deal with, you would not place your hopes on me, a senior brother that you have never met before." The other party's tone was calm, and his expression was calm. His eyes, which were not particularly bright, looked like they could see through everything in the world. Xiaoqun felt startled in his heart. After thinking for a long time, he finally thought of a word to describe this cheap, senior brother of his. Down-to-earth. That's right, down-to-earth. Yi Zifeng did not put on the airs of a senior expert, pretending to be profound. He was also not overly enthusiastic, making others feel that he was hypocritical. Yi Zifeng's tone was calm, and his attitude was gentle. He spoke in an unhurried manner, but it made others feel convinced. For some reason, Xiaoqun had a favorable impression of Yi Zifeng. He performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Big brother Yi, your analysis is right. Xiaoqun is indeed here to avoid trouble." In the end, Xiaoqun was still too shy to address Yi Zifeng as senior brother, so he could only address Yi Zifeng as big brother. Without hiding anything, Xiaoqun told Yi Zifeng about how he met the Jiao snake and how the Black Lotus Church strangely hunted him down. Yi Zifeng listened calmly. When Xiaochen finished, he did not rush to answer, revealing a contemplative expression. For a holy venerate to show such an expression, the Black Lotus Church's matter was not simple. Xiaochen could not help feeling nervous. Actually, he had heard about it long ago. The Black Lotus Church was an extremely special faction in the Grave Sea cluster. This was especially so for the Black Lotus Church's churchmaster, who was exceptionally mysterious. The Black Lotus Church is somewhat difficult to deal with. I'll do my best. Yi Zifeng did not say anything definite. He looked at Xiaochen and said, "There's no need to rush. I can tell from your aura that you are about to break through. During this period of time, just stay at my place and cultivate properly. If you need anything, you can mention it to your martial nephew. I'll introduce you to him first." Martial nephew? That should be the disciple that the red-clad administrator mentioned, the one that Yi Zifeng reluctantly accepted. Yi Zifeng's lips moved slightly, and an invisible fluctuation spread out in the air. After a while, a sharp aura came from the middle of the mountain. A nimble figure leaped up the steep mountain path. Xiaochen muttered in his heart, entering deep thought. Why does this aura feel somewhat familiar? When that person landed excitedly on the mountain and rushed over to Yi Zifeng, Xiaochen's expression froze slightly. Xiaochen was slightly startled, and he tried hard not to laugh. He looked calm and unfathomable. The newcomer was quite young, and there was an unconcealable arrogance between his brows. His sharpness was unbridled. At such a young age, Xiaochen already broke through peak minor primal core and reached early stage major primal core. There was also an indistinct great desolate Aeon aura from his body, giving off an ancient aura. It was none other than Ling Yu, whom Xiaochen had met a few times before. This was the Ling Yu who had won more than 30 matches in a row in the Pirate Hall and arranged a duel with the elegant youth of the heavenly shaking mountain, Jiang Xian. Ling Yu had also noticed Xiaochen. He showed a stunned expression, but before he could ask any questions, Xiaochen suddenly appeared in front of him. Yi Zifeng said calmly, "Ling Yu, greet your martial uncle Xiaochen." Ling Yu was immediately flabbergasted, a very interesting expression on his face. He was sure that he hadn't heard wrongly. He knew the meaning of every single word his master had said, but after putting them together, he was really confused about what they meant. Ling Yu looked at Xiaochen, then at Yi Zifeng. "Master, are you messing with me? You must be messing with me, messing with me, messing with me." However, when Ling Yu saw Yi Zifeng's certain expression, he turned completely flustered. He revealed a smile that was even uglier than crying. Then he performed a cupped fist salute and bowed. Ling Yu greets martial uncle Xiaochen. Xiaochen laughed loudly in his heart. He felt that it was really worth it to acknowledge this senior brother. Back then, this Ling Yu felt that he was superior and thought that Xiaochen wanted to befriend him, so he coldly and nobly rejected Xiaochen. Although Xiaochen was broad-minded and did not mind, he was not a saint, so he could not help feeling displeased. Seeing the other party's expression now, Xiaochen felt incomparably delighted. Xiaochen smiled and said, "Martial nephew is too polite. In the future, I will have to ask martial nephew to take care of me." Yi Zifeng nodded seriously and said, "Your martial uncle will be staying here for a period. If there are any trivial matters, I will leave them to you." Your martial uncle, these were 3 very ordinary words. However, when Ling Yu heard them, they sounded like cursing, even more unpleasant to the ear than your grandfather. Chapter 1660. Naturally, a disciple did not dare to disobey his master's orders. Ling Yu smiled with a crying face. This disciple will definitely obey master's orders. Yi Zifeng smiled in satisfaction. Although the sect master had forced this disciple on him, he was pretty good in all aspects. Be it talent, toughness, or bloodline power, Ling Yu was not cut out for the saber. However, back then he could not resist the sect master's request to take Ling Yu in as a disciple. Although Yi Zifeng was not very good at fist techniques, he had no problem giving pointers and teaching Ling Yu. More importantly, Yi Zifeng was very knowledgeable and had a high cultivation. The other elders of the sect could not compare to him in terms of experience. Even if Ling Yu was not a grandmaster in fist techniques, he would be much better off cultivating under him than under the other elders. To Ling Yu, this was an exceptionally precious opportunity to become Yi Zifeng's disciple. Normally, Ling Yu studied diligently and improved rapidly, not disappointing Yi Zifeng. The relationship between master and disciple was pretty good. I'm going to meet the sect master. I'll leave your martial uncle to you first. Don't neglect him. Do your best to fulfill any requests he has. Yi Zifeng's figure flashed, vanishing from the summit. Clearly, he needed to personally explain the matter with Xiao Chen to the sect master. After his master left, Ling Yu's expression changed. He looked at Xiao Chen with a smile that did not seem like a smile. Young Master Xiao, you are really something. It has only been a short 1 or 2 months, and you have already become my martial uncle. I really misjudged you back then. Xiao Chen did not care. He smiled softly and said, Martial nephew, don't forget what my senior brother said. Lead the way. When Ling Yu thought of this, he immediately felt depressed. He said dejectedly, Come with me. I'll find a place for you to stay first. I don't know how Master will arrange for you, either. You can stay in my courtyard first. As they descended the mountain, Xiao Chen finally got a taste of the Purple Flame sect's grandeur. All sorts of rare fruits could be seen here, adorning both sides of the road and growing casually among the weeds. No one paid any attention to them. It was like they were used to it, like they were really weeds. With just a glance, one would discover that there was an ancient palace behind a certain forest. It was unknown how long it had existed. This palace gave off an ancient aura, and an expert guarded it. With a quick check, one discovered that it was actually a Cloud Sea Star Venerate. With a single glare, everyone was so scared that they didn't dare to look at him anymore. Occasionally, disciples who passed by would respectfully greet Ling Yu as martial uncle when they saw him. Xiao Chen felt enlightened. Senior Yi Zifeng is the sect master's martial uncle. Ling Yu might be young, but he is of the same generation as the sect master in the Purple Flame sect. Usually, it was others who called him senior uncle. Today, the tables had turned, and it was finally his turn. Moreover, it was the person he had once coldly rejected. It was to be expected that his expression would turn ugly. In the past, when others called him martial uncle, Ling Yu would feel pleased. The way he was addressed as martial uncle sounded extremely awkward to him. It felt like he was being scolded. He kept a straight face, feeling depressed and unhappy. Here, this is the courtyard where I usually cultivate. There are also a few side rooms, you can choose any one. Ling Yu stopped in front of a courtyard filled with spiritual energy halfway up the mountain. The Purple Flame sect had a strict hierarchy. Outer sect disciples usually lived and cultivated at the foot of the mountain where the spirit chi was the weakest. Only inner sect disciples could advance further up the mountain. The middle of the mountain was for core disciples like Ling Yu. Further up was the elite disciples and elders of the sect. As for the peak of the mountain with dense spirit energy that was like a 7-colored mist, it was the privilege of an extremely small number of people. Xiao Chen sized up the courtyard and praised, Good place. The location of this courtyard at the middle of the mountain is the best. The spiritual energy here is the densest, and the environment is elegant. There is even a mountain spring and a waterfall in the backyard. Ling Yu revealed a cocky expression. Of course, take a look at whose courtyard this is. Although I am not a true inheritor yet, I am still young and have the bloodline of the great desolate Eon's 10,000 races. The sect master even arranged for me to be under master. It's just a fine residence. What's the big deal? Xiao Chen nodded. You have a future. However, can martial uncle be an ordinary guest? There is no reason for you to stay in a side room. Little martial nephew, don't you agree? What do you mean? You want me to stay in a side room? This is my courtyard. Xiao Chen said straightforwardly, That makes sense. In that case, I'll stay at senior brother's place. The spiritual energy is dense, and the air is pretty good. After saying that, Xiao Chen turned and left. Ling Yu immediately felt incredibly angry. However, he remembered his master's instructions. After all, if he chased Xiao Chen out, that would be terrible. Putting on a smile, Ling Yu stepped forward and pulled Xiao Chen back. Martial uncle, don't be angry. Can I sleep in a side room? However, I never like to force others. It's fine, It's fine. Sleeping in a side room occasionally is actually not bad. I will stay here for at least half a year, Xiao Chen said emotionlessly. Ling Yu's expression froze. Then he smiled stiffly and said, "Is that so? That's good. I want to get to know Martial Uncle better." Ling Yu's half-pulling and half-inviting finally got Xiao Chen to change his mind. Then he said weakly, "Let's do this then. Martial Uncle, if you need anything, just call me at any time." Xiao Chen nodded and sat in the main seat of the main room. Then he said casually, "Bring me a cup of tea first." "Are you sure?" Ling Yu felt somewhat angry. Xiao Chen really treated him like a servant. Xiao Chen smiled leisurely and said, "After traveling so hard, I finally managed to sit down and brew a cup of tea for Martial Uncle. I can't even do that? Is this considered taking care of me? Martial Nephew, is this how you normally treat your seniors?" Good, good, good. After saying good 3 times, Ling Yu, who had never brewed tea before, took out a tea set and started to prepare the tea leaves and spring water, getting busy. On the other side, when Yi Zifeng saw the Purple Flame sect master, he quickly explained the matter of Xiao Chen in a few words. The Purple Flame sect master said sullenly, "Martial Uncle, you must take care of this matter." Yi Zifeng replied calmly, "Naturally. I owe Master a great debt of gratitude. There is no reason not to take care of his descendant." "All right. What help do you need?" Martial Uncle can use all the resources of the Purple Flame sect. After testing Yi Zifeng's attitude, the Purple Flame sect master quickly made a decision. Xiao Chen was just a minor character. However, Yi Zifeng was the anchor of the Purple Flame sect. Since Yi Zifeng expressed his stance, the Black Lotus Church could only brace themselves and defend him. "There's no need. This is a private matter of Pan Huang's line. It has nothing to do with the Purple Flame sect. I only need the sect's starry sky teleportation formation to teleport me to the nearest place to the Black Lotus world." The Grave Sea cluster had countless great realms. Even a holy venerate would not be able to reach some places within a short time. Only with the help of a starry sky teleportation formation would one be able to travel from one great realm to another in an instant. The sect leader was taken aback. "We're leaving now? We'll do our best. Naturally, the earlier we leave, the better. I'll make up for the resources needed to activate the starry sky teleportation formation." Right after Yi Zifeng spoke, he walked out of the great hall of the sect. His footsteps seemed slow but were actually urgent. He returned to the saber rack in the room and took out a saber. Then, he turned around and stepped into the starry sky transportation formation. Light flickered. In the next moment, he appeared in a transmission array that was countless great worlds away. The people at the transportation formation only heard the hum of a saber. They did not see anyone teleporting over. This was because Yi Zifeng had already turned into a saber light and arrived at the foot of the Black Lotus Church's holy mountain. Along the mountain path, he walked step by step. The surrounding formation, the guards and the monks did not notice this living person, be it in the open or in the dark. On the Black Lotus throne in the Holy Palace, the Black Lotus sect venerate suddenly opened his eyes. At some point in time, Yi Zifeng had arrived in the Great Hall. "What wind blew the strongest bladesman of the Grave Sea from the Purple Flame sect to me?" The Black Lotus sect venerate asked indifferently with a grave expression, not showing any joy or anger. Xiao Chen was someone who had faced a sovereign personage before. He had seen all sorts of situations and would not be frightened by a bladesman. Yi Zifeng remained expressionless. With just one look, he knew that he was not a match for this Black Lotus sect venerate. At the very least, he wouldn't be a match for the other party in the sacred mountain. However, it did not matter. He had never thought of actually killing the other party. If he could kill the other party, he wouldn't feel that this matter was too difficult to deal with. All he needed to do was draw his saber. Just one draw would suffice. In the next moment, a shocking Buddhist voice came from the Holy Palace. A saber light shot out of the Holy Palace, and the tall Buddha statue in the mountain collapsed. Yi Zifeng knelt on one knee outside the gates. The saber in his right hand stabbed 1 centimeter into the ground. Yi Zifeng coughed, and a large mouthful of blood fell to the ground. Then, he suddenly looked up and discovered a white snow lotus blooming not far away. Yi Zifeng revealed a smile and reached out to pluck the snow lotus. His figure drifted gently like the wind, returning to the transportation formation of the nearby Great Realm. A light flickered, and Yi Zifeng took a step forward, appearing outside Ling Yu's courtyard. At this moment, Ling Yu's tea was halfway brewed, and its fragrance was at its strongest. Ling Yu suddenly looked up and happened to see Yi Zifeng. He smiled and said, "Master, I'm brewing tea for Martial Uncle. You should try it as well." Yi Zifeng smiled warmly and said, "Not bad." As Yi Zifeng passed by, he plucked a few snow lotus petals and gently placed them in the water. Yi Zifeng casually sat down beside Xiaoqin and handed the snow lotus to Xiaoqin. "In the past, I heard Master say that the snow lotus that grows in darkness and filth is the most beautiful. Today, I finally got to see it for myself. This is a greeting gift for you." Xiaoqin received the snow lotus with a somewhat strange expression. Yi Zifeng had brought a saber in. Furthermore, it was a saber that had just been stained with blood. Chapter 1661. Soon, Ling Yu brought over 2 cups of tea and handed one to Xiaoqin and one to Yi Zifeng. "Master, Martial Uncle, please have some tea." Yi Zifeng nodded and gestured for Ling Yu to leave first. Xiaoqin picked up the teacup and took a sip. Naturally, he did not know how Ling Yu brewed tea. However, after adding a few snow lotus petals, the tea had a different taste. It had a slightly bitter taste that made one reminisce. After putting down the teacup, Xiaoqin said softly, "Senior brother, you brought your saber out." Yi Zifeng nodded. "I made a trip to the Black Lotus Church's holy mountain and helped you resolve some of your problems for now." This revelation startled Xiaoqin. He had not expected Yi Zifeng to make a trip to the Black Lotus Church without saying anything. Although the Black Lotus Church was also in the Grave Sea cluster, the distance was more than hundreds of millions of kilometers. This was truly unexpected. Xiaoqin retrieved his saber and went to the Black Lotus Church, resolving the matter. After leaving and returning, Ling Yu's tea had not even heated up yet. The shock in Xiaoqin's heart was indescribable, completely stupefied. Senior brother fought with the Black Lotus Church's sect venerate? Yi Zifeng put down the teacup and said, "I used 1 saber strike and he used 3 palm strikes. The Black Lotus Church's sect venerate will not be able to personally make a move against you for 10 years. Without a miracle, I will not be able to recover my cultivation to that of a holy venerate within 5 years." When Xiaoqin heard that, he was startled again. Yi Zifeng spoke so casually and calmly. However, Xiaoqin could imagine how dangerous that exchange was. The Black Lotus Church's sect venerate strength also surpassed Xiaoqin's imagination. With 3 palm strikes, he managed to force Yi Zifeng's cultivation to drop by 1 cultivation grade. Yi Zifeng would not be able to recover within 5 years. However, Yi Zifeng's strength was also startling. With just 1 saber strike, the Black Lotus Church's sect venerate would not be able to recover within 10 years. This indeed helped Xiaoqin relieve a lot of pressure, rendering Xiaoqin somewhat speechless. He did not know how to thank this senior brother whom he had just met. Yi Zifeng said softly, "The Black Lotus sect venerate is a sovereign personage in the first place. In the past few years, he has been recovering his strength. This attack of mine worsened his injuries, preventing him from worrying about you." Xiaoqin said, "But, senior brother, you..." Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and waved his hand, saying, "It's fine. It's just 5 years. To me, it's very short. Once I digest the energy of these 3 palm strikes, I might be able to advance to the next level." It's hard to say whether it's a blessing or a curse. Seeing Yi Zifeng's attitude, Xiaoqin was filled with admiration. There were very few people that he truly respected in his life. No matter what, Yi Zifeng was one of them. What about this snow lotus? When mentioning the snow lotus, Yi Zifeng revealed a gentle smile. "I was lucky. When he sent me flying, I happened to bump into this snow lotus when I landed. If you consume all of this snow lotus, you will be able to weaken the Black Lotus seal in your body to the minimum. At that time, I will use some external force to help you clear it completely." Given this, the Black Lotus Church's pressure on Xiaoqin practically vanished. The Black Lotus sect venerate could not personally make a move. Once the Black Lotus seal was removed, his subordinates would not be able to find him either. 10 more years. After 10 years, everything would be possible. Perhaps it would not be the Black Lotus sect venerate coming to find Xiaochen, but Xiaochen personally charging over. Junior brother, cultivate properly. If you have any problems with the saber, you can seek guidance from me at any time, Yi Zifeng said in unison. Yi Zifeng said in unison. Holding his saber, he stepped forward, moving like the wind as he headed for the summit. As Xiaochen watched Yi Zifeng leave, he felt deeply moved. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind. Xiaochen dealt with the great worry that he had for a long time just like that. Yi Zifeng came and went in a hurry like Yi Suifeng, dealing with it with one saber strike. Xiaochen felt like a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. However, this senior brother's concern also made him feel a heavy warmth. Honestly speaking, before coming, Xiaochen did not hold out much hope. No matter what, his relationship with Yi Zifeng was somewhat strained. Xiaochen had only obtained Pan Huang's inheritance in the Kunlun realm and had not even met Pan Huang. However, this Yi Zifeng did not hesitate to acknowledge him as his junior brother. No matter what, Xiaochen had to repay this favor in the future. Although his senior brother always showed a warm smile, Xiaochen could sense that Yi Zifeng, who had been guarding the summit for 10 years, had to be hiding something. Dong, dong, dong. Footsteps rang out, and Ling Yu walked in from outside. He stared at the 10,000-year-old snow lotus beside Xiaochen with a fervent gaze. His master never gave gifts easily. However, once he did, it would surpass one's imagination. After receiving Yi Zifeng's greeting gift, Ling Yu felt deeply moved as he walked over. With one glance, he could tell that this snow lotus was something good, even better than the one Yi Zifeng gave him. Ling Yu felt envious. Ling Yu poked his nose twice and smiled in a fawning manner. "Martial uncle, what good thing did master give me? Let me take a look." Seeing Ling Yu's appearance, Xiaochen could not help giggling. In the end, Ling Yu was still young. He could not hide his thoughts on his face. Xiaochen said casually, 10,000-year-old snow lotus. I heard that it was found in the darkest and dirtiest places. I just drank a cup of snow lotus tea and felt my mind clear up. A natural treasure that increases comprehension ability. Ling Yu exclaimed with certainty, his eyes lighting up. Then, he looked and saw that Yi Zifeng had not finished the tea in his cup yet. He picked it up and gulped it down in one breath. This action startled Xiaochen. How could one drink tea like that? Furthermore, it was still scalding hot. Pooh! So bitter! It scalded me. Ling Yu spat out all the tea in one breath. Then, he opened his mouth and exhaled. His face looked as unsightly as if he had eaten a yellow lotus. However, when Ling Yu saw the tea on the ground, he smacked his forehead, feeling an incredible heartache. Heavenly treasures that could increase one's perception were spat out by him just like that. Xiaochen smiled and said, "This is the Buddhist sect's snow lotus. It can calm the heart and ward off evil. The one that increases comprehension ability is the Bodhi tea. Martial nephew, you should read more books." Ling Yu retorted angrily, "You actually lied to me and made a fool of me." Xiaochen smiled and said, "You did not know the severity of the tea, which is why it was so hot. As for increasing comprehension ability, it was your own assumption. I did not even have time to remind you." Ling Yu felt stifled when he heard that. He pointed at Xiaochen, not knowing how to rebut. Xiaochen plucked a few snow lotus leaves and handed them to Ling Yu. Then, he put them away and said, "If you run into berserking qi deviation or feel restless, there is no need to drink tea. Just keep one in your mouth. The effects are pretty good." Ling Yu did not know how important the snow lotus was to Xiaochen, so he accepted it without thanking him. Feeling depressed, Ling Yu turned to leave. Xiaochen took out a jade bottle and called out, "I don't have any natural treasures that increase comprehension ability. However, do you need natural treasures that strengthen the physique and aid in breaking through bottlenecks?" Ling Yu quickly turned around and smiled. "Martial uncle, if you want to give your martial nephew a greeting gift, there is no need to be so polite. It is only right for your martial nephew to serve you." Even though Ling Yu said those words, he still directly grabbed the jade bottle in his hand. It is not really a greeting gift. I am very interested in how you activate the great desolate Ian bloodline in your body, Xiaochen said softly. Upon hearing that, Ling Yu looked around. Then he asked, "Why do you want to know about this? Is there no way to activate your bloodline? That makes sense. I have never seen or heard of this bloodline before. It is probably inherited through a generation. However, you want to use a small bottle of natural treasures that increase the physique to exchange for this secret? Martial uncle, your thinking is too simple." Xiaochen smiled and said, "Open it and take a look first. It will not be too late to say that after that." Ling Yu opened the bottle cap suspiciously. The instant the bottle opened, an ancient and dense aura of life spread out. A spot of golden light flickered in the bottle. Ling Yu exclaimed excitedly, "Life juice source. Furthermore, it is of the highest quality. This is of a higher grade than what the sect keeps." After saying that, Ling Yu did not hesitate to pick up the jade bottle and pour it into his mouth. Who cares? I'll drink it first before talking. After I drink it, I'll toy with you again. I just won't tell you the secret of activating the great desolate Ian bloodline. Ling Yu revealed a malicious smile as he opened his mouth wide, his tongue hanging out. However, even after waiting for a long time, he did not see the life juice source pour out. Feeling it strange, Ling Yu looked at the bottle's mouth. He saw a small drop of golden life juice source trickling out of the bottle cap with much difficulty. The life juice source gave off a golden light, clearly visible. However, there was only one drop, so it could not be poured out. Xiaochen took out another jade bottle and gently shook it in his hand, giving off the sound of liquid sloshing. Ling Yu put down the jade bottle and said angrily, "You're messing with me again." Xiaochen smiled warmly and said, "Not really. I did not say that there would definitely be the golden life juice source in there. Furthermore, martial nephew, you are very impatient. I have to be on guard." Ling Yu thought of the matter of drinking tea earlier, and he blushed, feeling somewhat embarrassed. However, in the blink of an eye, Ling Yu chuckled and said, "Martial uncle, I've been worrying about your identity. I forgot that you are only a half-step primal core cultivator." Xiaochen asked calmly, "What are you trying to do?" Ling Yu laughed loudly. "Martial uncle, you have traveled the world. Have you ever heard of killing people to snatch their treasures? Today, watch as I, Ling Yu, beat someone up and snatch their treasures. Who cares? I'll beat you up first. If you don't hand it over, I'll keep beating you up." Xiaochen revealed a strange smile. "Are you sure?" "Why would I be sure? I've wanted to beat you up for a long time." Chapter 1662. Ling Yu threw caution to the wind. He had been dissatisfied with Xiaochen in the first place, looking down on him all this while. Now, Ling Yu became his martial uncle in the blink of an eye, needing him to take care of him. Originally, it would have been fine if Ling Yu tolerated it. However, Ling Yu tricked him twice, and there was the temptation of the golden life juice source. Of course, Ling Yu would not really do anything to Xiaochen. He would just beat him up and snatch the life juice source. At that time, when Ling Yu's master blamed him, he could just say that he was discussing the martial Tao with his martial uncle. In any case, Ling Yu would not really do anything to Ling Yu. Right after Ling Yu spoke, he chuckled and launched himself at Xiaochen. A strong aura spread out from his body, firmly suppressing Xiaochen. After firmly suppressing Xiaochen, he punched at Xiaochen's chest. Xiaochen smiled faintly as he sat on the chair. 3 cauldron force gathered in his body and punched as well. Boom! The 2 fists clashed, and a loud sound rang out. Ling Yu, who had used less than half his strength, was caught off guard. Caught off guard, he was sent flying, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Ling Yu stumbled a few steps before he managed to stabilize himself. He simply could not tell how strong Xiaochen's vital qi was. That was natural. Unless one was at Yi Zifeng's level, no one could tell that Xiaochen's physical body already rivaled that of an early-stage major primal core venerate. A casual punch already contained 3 cauldron force. There was no need for him to gather it. I underestimated martial uncle. To think that you even cultivated vital qi. However, it is futile. Ling Yu did not care. After all, He had only used 20% of his strength in the earlier punch. He had not been serious at all. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and suddenly stood up. At this moment he burst forth with a startling speed. He executed the new fish dragon art, and his veritable essence energy protected his body. As his body rubbed against the air, his veritable essence energy burned into a purple flame. Xiao Chen turned into a flaming phantom and punched without hesitation. For the sake of bringing out his speed to its limits, this punch's might was actually limited. However, at this speed, Ling Yu, who was still speaking, could not see it clearly at such a close distance. Pa! A dark circle immediately appeared in Ling Yu's right eye, turning red and swollen. It was so painful that Ling Yu cried out and retreated. "Martial uncle, you're really fast." Ling Yu's right eye hurt. He felt his vision distort and blur, and he sucked in a breath of cold air. In response to him, Xiao Chen threw another punch, and a black eye ring appeared on his left eye. Xiao Chen shook his head inwardly. He said that he wanted to beat him up, but he was not serious at all. He looked down on him and was full of flaws. His combat experience was pitifully little. His stance and his gestures were not perfect at all. "Forget it, I'll give you a good beating. Martial uncle, I'm really angry." After being struck twice, Ling Yu was thoroughly enraged. He no longer held back, and his aura burst forth. Xiao Chen circulated his veritable essence energy and brought out his early-stage minor primal core cultivation. It had to be said that when Ling Yu used his full power, his aura was much stronger than that of the early-stage major primal core venerates that Xiao Chen had seen before. His true qi was condensed and heavy, incomparably vigorous. With a single glance, one could tell that his true element boundaries foundation was very solid. He had also put in a lot of effort in his daily cultivation. However, he was still lacking that little bit of maturity. His killing qi was insufficient. If Ling Yu faced an experienced person like Elder Tang, he would lose in 10 moves without activating his bloodline. Ling Yu, who used his full power, was filled with confidence this time. He no longer used an ordinary punch. Instead, he used his best martial technique, the cloud-shattering heavenly star fist. When Ling Yu punched, it was like a star falling, tearing through the clouds. In that instant, it scattered the clouds for 5,000 kilometers around. This fist drew out boundless resplendent starlight without any obstruction. This was the state that Ling Yu used for this punch. This Ling Yu was indeed a genius. At such a young age, he already comprehended the true meaning of the fist technique. No wonder Ling Yu could win 20-odd consecutive victories in the Pirate Hall back then, shining with unparalleled sharpness and attracting everyone's attention. Unfortunately, Ling Yu ran into Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was a demonic genius with even more horrifying talent than Ling Yu, more experience than Ling Yu's master, more combat experience than the elders of the sect, and a mental state equal to the Purple Flame sect's sect master. Whoosh! The Taiji diagram in Xiao Chen's dantian that looked like an ink painting slowly spun. Immediately, light flickered in Xiao Chen's surroundings. The light of the Taiji diagram was like ripples on water, reflecting on the ground and walls as it moved slowly. When Ling Yu executed the flawless saber Dao at this moment, it appeared incredibly heavy. Ling Yu's clothes fluttered like a saber falling to the ground, shocking a city. His fine black hair fluttered in the wind, looking like thousands of sabers stained with blood qi being drawn at the same time. Amid the clanging sounds, a heavy killing qi soared into the clouds and shook the surroundings. Xiao Chen used his palm as a saber and executed the flawless saber technique's falling moon stance. A saber light flashed, and a figure soared into the air, descending the moon. Boom! The falling moon was accompanied by a saber light as it clashed with Ling Yu's berserk punch, which was like a star breaking through the clouds. The entire courtyard trembled. Xiao Chen shattered Ling Yu's punch that turned into a star with one saber strike. The starlight scattered, and Ling Yu went flying back again. Ling Yu revealed an extremely incredulous expression, not daring to believe that Xiao Chen, a half-step primal core cultivator, actually surpassed him in strength. Little martial nephew, it is very dangerous to let your thoughts run wild during a huge battle. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. At this moment, The killing qi all over his body turned into a cold, intense spreading out. Ling Yu's body immediately stiffened, and his heart sank. He felt an intense chill spread from his heart to his entire body. Before Ling Yu could disperse the chill, Xiao Chen struck him with a palm strike and knocked him down from the air. Ling Yu landed heavily, and intense pain immediately filled his entire body. Ling Yu could not help cursing in his heart. This martial uncle is really ruthless in his attacks. Just as Ling Yu was about to get up, he discovered that a scabbard had pressed against his chest at some point in time. That scabbard was like a tall mountain pressing down on him. It blocked all of Ling Yu's qi. If Ling Yu tried to force his way through, he might instantly pierce through his chest. With this thought, Ling Yu could not help revealing some fear in his heart. This was especially so when he looked at Xiao Chen's cold face, which gave him a strange chill. If Ling Yu really tried to force his way through, this martial uncle would definitely pierce through his chest without hesitation. Ling Yu's complexion immediately paled. "Martial uncle, you aren't here for real, right?" Ling Yu said, forcing a smile. However, the killing qi coming from Xiao Chen intensified, making Ling Yu's breathing heavier. He said, "Killing people for their treasures? With your level, you want to kill people for their treasures? That's impossible." This Ling Yu was really stupid. Before him, Xiao Chen could be considered the ancestor of killing people for their treasures. When Ling Yu killed people for their treasures, he was probably still wet behind the ears. Suddenly, Xiao Chen saw Ling Yu's eyes tightly shut, his hands clenched tightly, trembling. Ling Yu's tightly shut eyes seemed somewhat moist. Xiao Chen burst out in laughter. This child is about to cry from fright. This is really a sin. How am I going to explain this to my senior brother? Then Xiao Chen removed the scabbard and smiled. "Get up. Martial uncle, I'm not trying to kill you. Really not." Ling Yu did not dare to open his eyes. He just lay there without moving. "I don't believe it. Even if he does not kill me, he will definitely beat me up." For safety's sake, Ling Yu made up his mind not to get up. This martial uncle had too many tricks up his sleeves. However, Ling Yu could not defeat him. This was simply too dangerous. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly. "Get up and... It's just life juice source. I'll give it to you." "Really?" Ling Yu said with a smile as he swiftly stood up with two panda eyes. "Really?" Xiao Chen shook his head. Then he walked over and sat down again. Then he said seriously, "However, you can't play any tricks on me. You have to tell me in detail how to activate the great desolate Ian bloodline." How could Ling Yu dare to play any tricks? A crafty light flashed in his eyes as he smiled. "However, martial uncle, you have to tell me how to temper my killing qi. Right? And how to release and withdraw it as I please. You have to tell me as well." When Xiao Chen saw the crafty light in Ling Yu's panda eyes, he could not help smiling. If Ling Yu was not greedy, he would not be Ling Yu. However, it was fortunate that Ling Yu knew the severity of the situation. At the last moment, he did not activate his bloodline to fight with Xiao Chen. If Ling Yu had activated his bloodline, it would not have been as simple as two panda eyes. Xiao Chen would have unleashed his great Tao energy as well. At that time, Ling Yu would not know the severity of the situation. Given Xiao Chen's magnanimity, he naturally would not take such a loss, so he agreed straightforwardly. Ling Yu chuckled. He felt that although he got beaten up, he still profited. Ling Yu had forgotten that his original intention was to beat the other party up. Chapter 1663. After reaching a consensus, Xiao Chen straightforwardly gave Ling Yu a bottle of golden life juice source, 5 kilograms. Ling Yu was truly startled. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen was so generous. This simply surpassed his imagination. As Ling Yu touched the bottle, he rejoiced, nearly dancing with joy. When Xiao Chen saw Ling Yu's excited appearance, he smiled and said, "You are, after all, the top core disciple of a rank 4 sect. How could the sect lack resources for you? Is there a need to be so exaggerated?" Ling Yu sighed bitterly and said, "Martial uncle, you don't know this. Good things like raising the physique have always been rare. There's no market for them. The sect does not have much in store either. Every time, It is given to the true inheritors first before the core disciples. Unless I complete some sect missions, I will be rewarded with several taels of silver life juice source every time. This is completely incomparable to martial uncles. Xiao Chen understood. Suddenly, he saw that Ling Yu was about to pour the life juice source into his mouth, so he quickly said, "Stop." "What's wrong?" Xiao Chen said helplessly, "This thing is best used for bathing. It is best to supplement it with some other herbs to make it easier to absorb." Ling Yu slapped himself on the forehead and said, "I forgot about that. I nearly wasted a heavenly treasure. The main thing is that there was no way to bathe in it with the previous amount. Martial uncle, thank you for the reminder." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Don't be in such a hurry to remind me. It is time to fulfill your promise." Ling Yu put away the life juice source seriously and smiled. "That's easy. Although the great desolate Ian bloodlines of the various clans are different, the activation methods are mostly the same. All you need to do is awaken the ancient spirit hidden in the bloodline. In the future, if you want to activate it, all you need to do is think about it. Ancient spirit? That's right. No matter how many generations a great desolate Ian bloodline passes down, there will always be some remnant soul in it. For example, my astral rock bloodline contains the remnant soul of an astral rock. After I awaken the remnant soul and merge it with my soul, I can activate it as I please. However, after activating a great desolate Ian bloodline, there will be some corresponding restrictions. The stronger the physical body, the longer the bloodline will last after it is activated. Otherwise, if you exceed the limit, your physical body will suffer some repercussions. After all, your body is made of flesh and blood. It cannot be compared to the 10,000 races of the untainted land. Xiao Chen nodded thoughtfully and said, "How to activate the remnant soul in the bloodline? I have a remnant blood soul summoning art here. Most people with great desolate Ian bloodlines know a similar soul summoning art." After receiving the remnant blood soul summoning art, Xiao Chen entered deep thought. Then, he suddenly looked at Ling Yu and discovered that Ling Yu was trying hard to hold back a smile. He immediately understood and said, "This remnant blood soul summoning technique sounds scary, but it's actually a common technique, right?" Ling Yu was startled. Then, he could not help guffawing. Martial uncle is really smart. The sect will give a copy to any disciple with a special bloodline for free. The price outside is only a few hundred medial grade spirit jades. Xiao Chen was suddenly enlightened. No wonder this guy laughed so hard that he almost jumped up. It turned out that Xiao Chen had used only 300 spirit jades to exchange for a bottle of golden life juice source. Anyone would be overjoyed. "Martial uncle, are you angry?" Ling Yu asked somewhat nervously when he saw Xiao Chen's expression. Xiao Chen flipped through the remnant blood soul summoning art and smiled softly. "You're overthinking. This thing was originally a greeting gift for you. I still have 1 or 2 tons of it on hand. Originally, I was planning to let you cleanse your bones a few times. After hearing what you said about the sex treatment, I feel that there is no need. I feel that this is already good enough." When Ling Yu heard that, the smile on his face vanished. He showed a dispirited expression as he said, "Martial uncle, don't." "I was wrong." Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "It depends on your performance, then." Ling Yu felt regret in his heart. Why did I have to play that little trick? This is great. My losses are too great. Ling Yu felt a pang of heartache. The joy of obtaining 5 tons of golden life juice source vanished, leaving him as depressed as he could be. Never mind. Let's not talk about this. I would like to ask Martial Uncle how to temper my killing chi, to allow me to release and withdraw it as I please. Just like Martial Uncle, your killing chi is as heavy as a mountain, making it hard for others to breathe. Upon hearing that, Xiao Chen closed the remnant blood soul summoning art. Then, he revealed a complicated expression as he looked at Ling Yu and asked, "How old are you this year?" In reply to Martial Uncle, Ling Yu just turned 20 this year. I entered the main sect at the age of 15 and have been cultivating for 5 years already. What was he doing when he was 20? The geniuses of the Great Thousand Realms were truly blessed. Xiao Chen felt somewhat melancholic. Then he suddenly smiled and said, "I'm 30-odd this year." Ling Yu did not hear the vicissitudes in Xiao Chen's words. Finding it strange, he asked, "What's wrong with 30-odd? In this great 1,000 realms, everyone has a long lifespan. 50 is still considered young. Could it be that it has something to do with age?" Ling Yu tilted his head, revealing a confused expression. "That's not right either. The true inheritors of our main sect are all much older than Martial Uncle. However, I have never seen such a terrifying killing chi before, making one's breathing feel somewhat rushed." Xiao Chen collected his thoughts and said softly, "Killing chi needs to be slowly accumulated before it can go from quantitative to qualitative. There are no shortcuts." Upon hearing this, Ling Yu could not help feeling disappointed. This was different from what he had imagined. Where did Xiao Chen's killing chi come from? In the Sky Dome realm and the Kunlun realm, he had experienced too many massacres. There were countless battles of various sizes. While there were not tens of thousands, there were at least thousands. Ling Yu could not compare to Xiao Chen. He was simply too young, just like Xiao Chen, who was 20 years old. He was as inexperienced as Ling Yu, perhaps even far inferior. If you want to take a shortcut, that is actually possible. Ling Yu's eyes lit up. What method? Xiao Chen smiled mysteriously, causing Ling Yu to tremble. Martial Uncle, don't scare me like that. 3 days from now, exchange moves with me for 4 hours every day for a month. Although your killing chi cannot grow, you can get used to the enemy's killing chi. You will not be as inexperienced as you were today. When Ling Yu heard that, he felt somewhat startled. Could it be that he had to go through the same experience every day? However, Ling Yu immediately thought of something. He nodded seriously and said, "All right. I'll ask senior brother for guidance 3 days from now." After saying that, Ling Yu headed straight inside. Xiao Chen pointed outside and said, "Little martial nephew, your room is outside." Ling Yu smiled awkwardly. "Sorry, I'm used to it. I'm used to it." After Ling Yu left, Xiao Chen started reading the Remnant Blood Soul Summoning Art again, entering deep thought. There were 2 urgent matters at hand. One was to break through, and the other was to activate the Blue Dragon bloodline. Regardless of which he succeeded, his strength would soar by leaps and bounds, reaching a qualitative leap. There would also be more opportunities in the Fiendish Demon battlefield 2 months from now. Based on what Ling Yu said, the Purple Flame sect had a mysterious true inheritor with a status equal to that of a sect elder. These true inheritors were much stronger than Xiao Chen. At that time, he would have to compete with these people and could not underestimate them. Of the 2 matters, Xiao Chen had to focus on one first. Only then would he be more efficient. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen made his decision. He decisively chose to awaken the Blue Dragon's remnant soul in his bloodline first. After arriving at the cultivation room that Ling Yu usually stayed in, Xiao Chen looked around and felt very satisfied. Originally, he worried that awakening the Blue Dragon's remnant soul would cause a huge commotion. However, when he saw the layout of this cultivation room, he relaxed. There were many formations laid inside that could isolate the cultivator's aura. The Purple Flame sect had also put a lot of thought into the materials used to build the walls. The Purple Flame sect probably already had such considerations. After all, everyone had some secrets. The Purple Flame sect had to give its disciples a private place. Soul summoning. According to the book, the higher the quality of the bloodline, the stronger the ancient spirit that remains. The old dragon horse said that my bloodline is rank 8, which is stronger than any one of the entire dragon race's 6 bloodlines. Xiao Chen felt some anticipation in his heart. The old dragon horse said that the highest quality of the dragon race's bloodline was rank 7. There was something strange about Xiao Chen's rank 8 bloodline, so the old dragon horse told him not to tell anyone. After spending one night reading through the Remnant Blood Soul Summoning Art, Xiao Chen pondered it for another day, completely understanding the parts that he did not understand. Only when he was 100% confident did he start to make his move. According to the book, it was possible to fail in summoning the soul. Every failure would result in significant damage to the physical body and soul. It was still necessary to be careful. With some anticipation, Xiaochen closed his eyes and circulated his veritable essence energy to circulate the remnant blood soul summoning art. Xiaochen's blood surged, and a terrifying aura from the great desolate Aeon came from his body. The formation responsible for isolating auras that spread throughout the cultivation room buzzed and trembled. Xiaochen immediately cursed in his heart. He had underestimated the ancient spirit in his bloodline. This was just the beginning. When he formally summoned the spirit, his secret would definitely be exposed. At the summit, Yi Zifeng, who was cultivating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes. Many of the strong Cloud Sea Elders also opened their eyes at the same time, revealing doubtful expressions. The Cloud Sea Elders had already started cultivating soul energy and were exceptionally sensitive to the aura of the ancient spirit. Chapter 1664. Just as Xiaochen was caught between a rock and a hard place and was about to give up for now, the formation in the entire room suddenly stabilized. Junior brother, just awaken your bloodline spirit in peace. I'll stand guard for you. Yi Zifeng's voice rang out in Xiaochen's mind, calming him down. Many thanks, senior brother. The aura of the blue dragon's remnant soul vanished in a flash in the main peak of the purple flame sect. It had just attracted the attention of the Cloud Sea Elders in the sect when it vanished again, undetectable. After a while, the Cloud Sea Elders could only give up on searching, thinking that a disciple had failed to summon the blue dragon soul. With his senior brother Yi Zifeng standing guard, Xiaochen calmed down and started circulating the remnant blood soul summoning art again. All the blood in Xiaochen's body surged continuously. A warmth appeared in Xiaochen's body. Then he felt like he was on fire. His skin turned fiery red. As the remnant blood soul summoning art continued to circulate, bits of azure light started to separate from his blood. His hot-bloodedness surged, and all the blood in his body started to separate azure light. After that, all the azure light rushed towards Xiaochen's brain. Xiaochen, who was already feeling very uncomfortable, felt dizzy from the heat. How can it be like this? This startled Xiaochen. He felt his rationality slipping away bit by bit. Anxiety and irritation spread in his mind, affecting Xiaochen's mind. Whoosh! Xiaochen, who was seated cross-legged, spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. Immediately, heat waves surged throughout the entire cultivation room. It was like a dragon's breath, horrifying and terrifying, accompanied by roars. The cultivation chamber began to tremble once again. The formation buzzed, and cracks began to appear on the walls. On the roof, Yi Zifeng furrowed his brows. He had already cultivated soul power. He, who had already cultivated soul energy, could clearly see an invisible dragon's soul coiled in the room, wanting to soar into the sky and shake the heavens. Yi Zifeng gently drifted down and landed on the dragon's head, ruthlessly suppressing it. Which of the 6 bloodlines of the dragon race is this? The irritable aura is similar to the red dragon bloodline. However, how could a red dragon spirit look like this? Yi Zifeng was very knowledgeable. Back in the Central Great Realm, he had interacted with many major characters with great desolate bloodlines. As far as he could remember, there was no such lineage in the dragon clan. It was even more impossible for the pseudo-dragons or other branches to exist. The aura of Xiaochen's dragon soul was clearly stronger than that of the dragon race's 6 main bloodlines. How could it be a false dragon? His rationality told him that this matter was not simple, and he absolutely could not expose it. A gust of wind flashed past. His tall and straight body was like a sheathless blade. Strands of Saber Dao Great Dao energy emanated from Xiaochen's body. He used the Dao might to firmly suppress the dragon soul. Outside the courtyard, Ling Yu had just finished preparing the supplementary herbs and bathed in the life juice source. Caught off guard, he was sent flying. This was a deterrence that came from the depths of his soul. It penetrated deep into his soul, causing his blood vessels to tremble. His entire body was prostrated on the ground, feeling waves of immense pressure. What happened? Blood leaked out of a corner of Ling Yu's lips, and he panicked. Suddenly, he remembered the remnant blood soul summoning art that he gave to Xiaochen. Damn it! Nothing will happen to Martial Uncle. With this thought, Ling Yu's expression changed slightly. As he stared at that immense pressure, he walked forward step by step. Ling Yu looked towards his original cultivation room. A pair of azure-colored dragon eyes vaguely appeared, releasing a resplendent golden light. Whoosh! Ling Yu vomited another mouthful of blood as he went flying again. Ancient spirit! It is the ancient spirit in Martial Uncle's body. Lying on the ground, Ling Yu was deeply shocked. He had not expected the ancient spirit in Xiao Chen's body to be so strong, so terrifyingly strong. His astral rock bloodline could not resist at all. Originally, Ling Yu thought that the great desolate Ian bloodline in Xiao Chen's body was already extremely thin and ranked at the back, far inferior to his astral rock bloodline. However, it looked like the bloodlines of the strongest 100 races of the great desolate Ian were only SS. What exactly are the origins of this martial uncle? Ling Yu thought to himself. As he thought about his experiences with Xiao Chen, he felt that Xiao Chen's background was extremely mysterious. When he thought about how he had coldly rejected the other party back then, he could not help blushing. Ling Yu, there's no need to get any closer. I'm standing guard for junior brother. Patrol the surroundings and don't let anyone near. Yi Zifeng's voice suddenly rang out in Ling Yu's mind, startling him awake. It turned out that Master was already here. In that case, there was nothing to worry about. With Master around, that martial uncle Xiao Chen would definitely be fine. In Ling Yu's heart, Yi Zifeng was like a god. As long as Yi Zifeng was around, there was nothing that could not be resolved. After Ling Yu got up, he no longer barged into the courtyard. Instead, he obeyed his master's orders and patrolled the surroundings. Xiao Chen panted softly in the cultivation room. He felt some horror and fear in his heart. He only felt too hot and uncomfortable, wanting to breathe and relax. Unexpectedly, the panting uncontrollably turned into a deep dragon roar, making him feel even more uncomfortable. As the azure light that separated from his blood continuously gathered, a faint dragon soul formed in the depths of his soul. The next step was for this ancient dragon soul to merge with Xiao Chen's soul. After the merger succeeded, Xiao Chen would be able to activate his blue dragon bloodline as he pleased. Xiao Chen desperately needed the blue dragon bloodline. After seeing Ling Yu's combat prowess soar when he activated his bloodline, Xiao Chen had always had a desire in his heart. Xiao Chen had always had a desire in his heart. If he hid such a huge treasure in his body and could not use it, it would be a waste. However, the situation now was somewhat different from what Xiao Chen imagined. He felt that this dragon soul seemed to be vaguely taking over the dominant position. Could it be that after the merger, Xiao Chen would really turn into a dragon? His original consciousness would be completely erased. This kind of worry was something that no one could have anticipated. No matter who it was, no matter how strong their bloodline was, they could not take over the dominant position. After many generations of inheritance and dilution, the ancient spirit would only be a strand of remnant soul, not very strong. However, this situation was somewhat different for Xiao Chen. He breathed heavily and uncontrollably let out dragon roars, causing the entire room to tremble endlessly. Up on the roof, Yi Zifeng's forehead was already covered in sweat from suppressing the dragon roars. He was already injured in the first place. Now, blood leaked out of a corner of his lips, no longer as relaxed as he was at the start. The situation was indeed as Yi Zifeng expected. This junior brother's bloodline power was very extraordinary. This strengthened Yi Zifeng's resolve to suppress this dragon soul and not expose its secrets. Once news of such a strange creature leaked out, it would attract the attention of the world prematurely. Who knew how many people would feel afraid? It was hard to imagine that Xiao Chen would have a chance to mature. He would definitely be killed by someone before he grew up. At this moment, Xiao Chen, who was in the cultivation room, felt conflicted, hesitating. He did not know whether to proceed to the end or not. Azure dragon scales already appeared on Xiao Chen's skin, flickering with a metallic luster. Such a situation made Xiao Chen even more worried. He became anxious and berserk, and his consciousness slowly blurred. It's over. Suddenly, Xiao Chen was horrified to discover that without his control, the savage blood soul summoning art had already started to circulate on its own. No matter what he did, he could not stop it. The blood flowing in Xiao Chen's limbs and bones continuously separated into bits of azure light and surged to the top of his head. The faint figure of the dragon soul in the depths of his mind slowly became clearer. Xiao Chen's body slowly expanded, slowly occupying his soul. A formless swelling pain came from the depths of his soul, completely unstoppable. How can it be like this? His soul pool suddenly increased by 4 or 5 times. Yi Zifeng, who had been paying attention to Xiao Chen, revealed a doubtful expression, feeling extremely confused. Logically speaking, given Xiao Chen's cultivation, a casual movement of his soul pool would scatter his soul, turning his physical body into an empty shell. Am I going to die? Xiao Chen's consciousness slowly turned blurry, and his thoughts slowly turned empty. While he did not know what was going on, a pile of dragon humps grew out from his back. They were like sharp swords, spreading out in a perfectly straight line. Xiao Chen's hands turned incredibly sharp, and his entire body started to dragon. The situation slowly progressed toward the worst-case scenario. However, just as the situation was about to become completely out of his control, a voice suddenly rang out. Suddenly, a mysterious black pearl in the depths of Xiao Chen's soul released a large expanse of immortal light. Just as the dragon soul was about to erase Xiao Chen's soul, an uncontrollable suction force appeared. This created an uncontrollable suction force that incomparably arrogant and tyrannical ancient spirit. It swallowed the incomparably arrogant and tyrannical ancient spirit without revealing anything. At this moment, Xiao Chen fainted and did not see this strange scene. Chapter 1665. When Xiao Chen woke up again, it was already daybreak. He slowly opened his eyes and discovered that he was in a pile of rubble. Sitting up with some difficulty, Xiao Chen felt as if he had just woken up. His head was heavy and he felt extremely uncomfortable. He felt waves of discomfort all over his body, as if his bones were broken and then reassembled. Slapping his head hard, Xiao Chen closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths, finally recovering some of his energy. When he opened his eyes once more, he saw a huge face right in front of him. He could even feel the other party's breath, giving him a huge fright. Ignoring the soreness in his body, he stood up immediately. Hee, Martial Uncle, wake up. Looks like Master was right. Don't touch you. You'll wake up after daybreak. Ling Yu said with a smile as he stood up. His complexion was red and his aura was stable. Even his true essence had become much more stable. Xiao Chen understood. The other party must have absorbed the life juice source last night. In one night, he seemed to have undergone a complete transformation. Furthermore, this was his first time using this golden life juice source. He had a great desolate Ian bloodline, and this was his first time using the golden life juice source. The effect was surprisingly good. In just one night, everyone's eyes lit up. If Xiao Chen had a few more days to completely absorb and refine the life juice source in his body, his strength would definitely improve further, and his combat prowess would increase significantly. This was what it meant to be a genius disciple. With just a little bit of luck, they would be able to bring out 10 times, 100 times more effect than ordinary disciples. Xiao Chen collected his thoughts and looked at the rubble. He asked, "What happened before I fainted?" Ling Yu shook his head and said, "I don't know. I was patrolling for you. Then I heard a loud sound, and the cultivation room was completely destroyed. A terrifying dragon roar rang out. Fortunately, Master made a move and completely suppressed this shocking phenomenon. Otherwise, everyone in the sect will be alerted. I owe my senior brother another favor." Xiao Chen felt a burst of warmth in his heart. He knew very well the terrifying consequences of exposing the Blue Dragon bloodline in advance. That was much scarier than the Black Lotus Church. However, Xiao Chen was also quite curious about what had happened at the last moment. He had originally thought that he was definitely going to die. After he woke up, his main consciousness would definitely be erased. However, looking at the situation, it seemed that something was wrong. He was still alive and well. His limbs had not changed, his body had not changed, his thoughts were still there, his soul seemed to have become stronger. "Martial Uncle, did you succeed?" Ling Yu asked excitedly. Xiao Chen really wanted to see what would happen after his martial uncle's great desolate Ian bloodline was unleashed. Right, let's not worry about that for now. Let's see if the bloodline activation is successful or not. Xiao Chen sank into his thoughts. He also wanted to know the results of his efforts this time. With a thought, his black eyes instantly turned a resplendent gold. Its entire body gave off a deep azure light, and its aura was ancient and distant. It was unknown how long it had existed. A powerful desolation chi spread out from Xiao Chen's body. In the next moment, his golden eyes turned into azure dragon eyes. In the depths of his pupils, there was an extremely resplendent scarlet light. Strange, mysterious, aloof, arrogant, tyrannical, powerful. Xiao Chen was affected by an irascible emotion. His entire body was filled with power, and he felt that human lives were as worthless as grass, and he viewed the common people as ants. The world is vast, the universe is vast, but there is nothing worth pursuing. Endless loneliness and solitude lingered in my heart. I only dared to ask what in the world could make me look straight at it. Ling Yu, who was at the side, regretted it the moment Xiao Chen activated his bloodline. He was already prepared to activate his Star Rock bloodline the moment Xiao Chen activated his bloodline. However, before Xiao Chen, he still felt waves of pressure, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. Even speaking was extremely difficult. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's state only lasted for a moment before it quietly dissipated. Returning to his original state, Xiao Chen felt a sense of unreality. At that moment, it was as if he had become a different person. Although his thoughts were clear and all his actions were under his control. However, many thoughts appeared in his mind uncontrollably, difficult to suppress. Was this the true portrayal of the ancient blue dragon? Although the sky was vast, the opponents that could make the blue dragon look straight at were 1 in 10,000. Xiao Chen felt some lingering fear. Such a state of mind was unacceptable. If Xiao Chen charged up and sought trouble with a Cloud Sea cultivator with such a state of mind, he would be humiliated if he got taught a lesson. Martial uncle, your bloodline is really too horrifying, Ling Yu said with lingering fear in his heart. However, the stronger the bloodline, the greater the burden after using it. Martial uncle, it is best that you use it sparingly. Bang. Before Ling Yu finished speaking, Xiao Chen's body fell backward without any warning. Once again, Xiao Chen fainted. Martial uncle, I'm not done yet. Ling Yu smiled bitterly, feeling extremely helpless. This time, Xiao Chen slept for 3 days. 3 days later, he opened his eyes. All the discomfort he felt vanished. He felt refreshed, and his entire body felt incredibly comfortable. During these 3 days, Xiao Chen's body had completely adapted to the new body brought about by the dragonification of his bones. Even he had no idea that the day his body transformed into a dragon, his life force and physique had improved by another level without him realizing it. Ao Jiao, how many days did I sleep for? Xiao Chen asked after washing up. No more, no less. Just 3 days, Ao Jiao answered honestly. Oh. Xiao Chen left and went to the courtyard alone. Then, he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. Xiao Chen sensed the changes in his body and was surprised to discover that his vital qi had increased to 4 cauldron force. Strange, Xiao Chen muttered to himself. Then, he opened his eyes, and the various scenes of his dragonification appeared in his mind. Xiao Chen simply could not figure out what pulled him back from the gates of hell. He clearly felt that the ancient spirit had already completely occupied his physical body. If I have time, I have to ask senior brother. Yi Zifeng, who had been paying attention to the entire process, should know more than Ling Yu. However, Yi Zifeng's condition was definitely not good right now, so it was not good to disturb him. Martial Uncle Ling Yu, things are bad. Things are bad. Just at this moment, an anxious figure came from outside the door. A figure rushed in a fluster, charging in without greeting Ling Yu. That was a young purple flame sect disciple dressed in gray. His cultivation was not low, even slightly higher than Ling Yu's. However, at this moment, he appeared flustered and anxious. The instant the gray-clad disciple entered, he saw Xiao Chen and was stunned for a moment. Who are you? Why are you in Martial Uncle's courtyard? Why are you in such a flustered state? Speak properly. He is my martial uncle. Just at this moment, Ling Yu, who walked out of the side room, spoke with a sullen expression, acting like an old man. Xiao Chen felt slightly stunned. At this moment, Ling Yu's expression and aura returned to when Xiao Chen first met him in the pirate hall. Ling Yu radiated sharpness, and unconcealable pride appeared on his face. His powerful aura made it so that no one dared to look down on him. Martial Uncle's martial uncle? How should I address him? Martial Grand Uncle? However, how could there be a half-step primal core martial Grand Uncle in the Purple Flame sect? The situation immediately turned chaotic. What are you waiting for? What's the matter? Quickly say it. The gray-clad disciple recovered his wits and quickly said, Martial Uncle, the Divine Firmament sect's little thunder saber Fengyu is charging over again with their core disciples. Senior Brother Lu, Senior Brother Lan, and the others have all been defeated. Now, only Senior Sister Bai is left bitterly holding on. Damn, it's that bastard again. His 7 purple thunder strikes must have improved again. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Chapter 1666. Martial Uncle, why are you following us? Ling Yu asked, feeling it was strange. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and replied, after sleeping for so many days, I have to move around a bit. Furthermore, I have not properly strolled around the Purple Flame sect yet. Cut the crap and lead the way. Upon seeing this scene, the gray-clad disciple felt startled. What is the background of this white-clad person? Ling Yu's words rendered Ling Yu speechless. After all, Ling Yu was the top core disciple. Furthermore, he was very young, only in his 20s. He might very well become the youngest true inheritor in the history of the Purple Flame sect. Furthermore, Ling Yu had the sect's stabilizing pillar, Yi Zifeng, as his master. He even had a connection to the legendary Pan Huang. His future was limitless. Several of the elders in the sect did not dare to show their martial uncle any displeasure. When they met, they would address him politely as martial uncle. However, before this white-clad person, their martial uncle did not show any temper at all. This was really strange and puzzling. The 3 of them quickly traversed the mountain path. Soon, they arrived at a lonely mountain peak surrounded by clouds and mist. A simple and imposing pavilion stood beside an old tree on the peak. Several Purple Flame sect disciples gathered there. 2 Purple Flame sect disciples lay at the side, their complexions pale and in pain. A purple-haired youth sat on a long bench in front of the pavilion, leading many Divine Firmament sect core disciples. All of them had smiles on their faces. Their gazes were fixed on a ring that was floating in the air and shrouded in a celestial mist. 2 people were currently fighting intensely on the arena, a man and a woman. The man was a Divine Firmament sect core disciple, and the woman was a Purple Flame sect core disciple. She was the senior sister Bai that the gray-clad disciple mentioned. Greeting of Swords Edges. At the entrance, there was a stone stele with 3 ancient and vast words written on it. Xiao Chen entered deep thought and understood some of the reasons. Big Brother Lu, Big Brother Lan, what's wrong with you? When Ling Yu saw the 2 weakened people in the pavilion, his expression changed drastically. Then, his figure flashed as he charged in. Little martial uncle, didn't I tell you not to come? The 2 said sullenly with slightly angry expressions. In such a situation as the number 1 core disciple, how could I not come? However, Ling Yu did not care. When he got up and checked the 2's injuries, his expression immediately turned sullen. Lightning entered his body and damaged his tibia. He wouldn't be able to recover within 2 months. How vicious! Fengyu, you bastard! Do you need to be so ruthless? Ling Yu roared furiously as he stood up and looked at the purple-haired youth leading the Divine Firmament sex group. The purple-haired youth smiled and said, both our sects have set up the greeting of Swords Edges to facilitate the exchange of pointers between the disciples of both sections. Fists and kicks are emotionless, while blades and swords have no eyes. Brother Ling, why are you so angry? What are you shouting for? It's a fair spar. I've already shown mercy. What more do you want? The Divine Firmament sect cultivator who injured the Purple Flame sect core disciples stood up and looked at Ling Yu in disdain, not showing any signs of remorse. In the Greeting of Swords Edges, each sect had a similar location. The Greeting of Swords Edges was where the face of a sect was. Not a single sect would remove the Greeting of Swords Edges. Doing so was equivalent to showing weakness, a great humiliation to the sect. All the other sects would laugh at them and look down on them. Setting up this Greeting of Swords Edges also served to motivate the sect's disciples. The world of cultivators followed the law of the jungle in the first place, where the strong reigned supreme and the weak were humiliated. However, in recent years, very few Purple Flame sect disciples went to the Divine Firmament sect's Greeting of Swords Edges. It was the other party who came to mock them. This time, the other party came prepared. Clearly, the other party wanted to deal a blow to the Purple Flame sect core disciples, preventing them from entering the fiendish demon battlefield 2 months from now and reducing the competition. The ruthlessness of this move was unexpected. Boom! As the Divine Firmament sect disciples spoke, a bolt of electric light knocked that exquisite girl into the air. Immediately, cries rang out in the surroundings. The eyes of the Purple Flame sect disciples filled with rage and dissatisfaction. 3 consecutive defeats. Another 3 consecutive defeats. Aside from the occasional exception, the Divine Firmament sect core disciples usually suffered 3 consecutive defeats when they fought the Purple Flame sect core disciples. The reason was none other than the Divine Firmament sect's development over the past few years. Its younger generation disciples had already surpassed the Purple Flame sect. The Divine Firmament sect's momentum was ferocious. Every year, geniuses and outstanding talents were born, firmly suppressing the Purple Flame sect. Little Martial Uncle, who told you to come? Weren't you in closed-door cultivation? The exquisite girl asked with a trace of reproach in her tone as she looked at Ling Yu. However, like her 2 senior brothers, her tone was filled with concern. The Divine Firmament sect's purple-haired youth, Feng Yu, appeared very confident. He smiled faintly and said, "Stop being so wishy-washy. Stop acting pitifully. I'm already sick of watching it. Ling Yu, it is time for you to make a move. Let me think of who to send this time. Let you win 1 match and regain some face for your Purple Flame sect." Right after Feng Yu spoke, the Divine Firmament sect core disciples all laughed. It had been like this for the past few years. After 3 consecutive defeats, Ling Yu would appear and win 1 match. Then, this purple-haired youth would appear as the finale and defeat Ling Yu. Such a scene would play out practically every few months. There were no exceptions every time. In the blessed land that was the Black Cave Mountain, the little thunder saber Feng Yu was like Ling Yu's nemesis, suppressing him firmly. Senior brother, let me do it. Perhaps this time, it might not be your turn to make a move. The Divine Firmament sect disciple who injured the 2 Purple Flame sect disciples earlier did not show any fear. The little thunder saber Feng Yu maintained a faint smile on his face, always looking like he had control of the situation. He said, "Brother Ling Yu, please." Ling Yu clenched his fists tightly. He clearly knew that this was a trap. However, under such circumstances, he had no choice but to let the other party lead him by the nose. Junior brother Feng, be careful. This Ling Yu should have had some fortuitous encounters recently. Based on his aura, his strength has improved significantly. The little thunder saber Feng Yu sent a voice projection to his junior brother. Senior brother, don't worry. I'm not a fool. This fellow should have obtained some natural treasures. However, he has yet to completely refine them. He is definitely not a match for senior brother. I'll help senior brother scout him out first. They were all core disciples of rank 4 sections. Although the Divine Firmament sect's people were arrogant, they were not fools. Feng Yu immediately calmed down, no longer having any misgivings. He continued looking at Ling Yu and said, "Brother Ling Yu, what's wrong? My junior brother already went up. Don't tell me that you do not even have this bit of courage?" When Xiaochen saw all this, he was about to make a move to stop Feng Yu. However, Ling Yu could no longer remain calm. He leaped up and landed on the arena. This child, Xiaochen sighed in his heart. He could understand this. After all, Ling Yu was still a youth. It did not look like he could truly remain indifferent to favors or humiliation. Given the current situation, Xiaochen definitely had to endure for now. After Xiaochen completely absorbed and refined the life juice source, he would properly temper Lingyu. When Lingyu's strength truly improved, he would charge his way to the divine firmament sect's greeting of sword's edges and slap this face back 10 times, 100 times. He would crush the other party's spirit in one go. He would not be like Lingyu now, walking onto the arena with resentment and helplessness. Divine Firmament Sect Core Disciple Fang Yun. Brother Lingyu, please give me some pointers. The Divine Firmament Sect disciples on the arena performed cupped fist salutes. Purple Flame Sect's Lingyu, please give me some pointers. When Lingyu saw the smile on the other party's face, he could not control the rage in his heart. Right after he spoke, he threw a punch. Lingyu's punch contained great might. A fist wind tore through the air, giving off ear-piercing howls in the surroundings. The little thunder saber Feng Yu nodded slightly. His judgment was right. This Lingyu's strength had indeed improved significantly. However, everything was still under control. Fang Yun had learned about this in advance, so he was not too surprised at Lingyu's great increase in strength. His figure flashed, leaving behind an electric afterimage as he dodged. The strength that Lingyu displayed in the arena made the eyes of the Purple Flame Sect disciples light up. They could not help focusing their gazes on the arena again. Although Lingyu was furious, he did not lose his rationality. He wanted to end the battle quickly and preserve his strength. Then, he would fight the little thunder saber Feng Yu and rewrite all the humiliation he suffered. By relying on the golden life juice source that Xiaochen gave him, Lingyu's strength had increased significantly in the past few days. He was extremely confident of defeating Feng Yu. Xiaochen was somewhat startled. This little martial nephew truly surpassed his expectations. While Lingyu's fist technique looked mighty and tyrannical, in reality, he used just the right amount of force. Every time he attacked, he did not waste any excess veritable essence energy. Lingyu's footwork was completely random, but he managed to push the Divine Firmament Sect's Fang Yun into a corner. This prevented Fang Yun from executing his punches and kicks. He might not even have a chance to bring out his full power before suffering a sullen defeat. Interesting. Lingyu's improvement is truly extraordinary. Xiaochen thought to himself, perhaps Lingyu might be able to create a miracle this time. Chapter 1667. Back in the arena, the Divine Firmament Sect's Fang Yun, who had been filled with confidence that he could fight Lingyu to a draw or even defeat him, suddenly stopped. His expression was extremely unsightly. 20 moves had passed, and he was completely in a passive position. The space for Xiaochen to move around became smaller and smaller. Every time he attacked, he felt restricted. He could not bring out his aura at all. His attacks were suppressed, and his strength was being suppressed more and more. This was a friendly spar. Although the battle was quite intense, it was not a true battle to the death. Some life-saving killer moves definitely could not be used. Even if you had them, others also had them. If they used life-saving killer moves together, the consequences would be unpredictable. After returning to the sect, they would definitely be punished. This was an unwritten rule of the greeting of sword's edges. If Lingyu could not use his trump card, he would not be able to turn the situation around. The enraged Lingyu calmly did not give Fang Yun any chance. After another 10 moves, Fang Yun, who had been struggling for a long time, could no longer hold on. Lingyu revealed a rather large opening, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He did not hesitate to attack decisively. The true intent of the cloud-shattering heavenly star fist was unleashed, causing starlight to descend on the stage, clearing away all the clouds surrounding the stage. Everyone clearly saw Lingyu send the Divine Firmament Sect's Fang Yun flying with one punch, unable to retaliate at all. All right. The Purple Flame Sect disciples immediately cheered. No one expected Lingyu to win so easily. Junior brother Ling, your strength has improved so much in just a few days. The disciple with the surname Lu, who was defeated earlier, was slightly startled, before a hint of joy appeared on his face. Lingyu was naturally happy that Lingyu had such strength. The petite woman with the family name Bai said, "Perhaps little martial uncle might not lose to that little thunder saber Feng Yu. Even if he can't win, he can still fight to a draw." Little thunder saber Feng Yu. I wonder how far his purple thunder 7 strikes has progressed. At the mention of the little thunder saber Feng Yu, the purple flame sect disciples all revealed dejected expressions. Ling Yu was the future star of the purple flame sect. Not only did he have great talent and a powerful bloodline, but he also had Yi Zifeng as his master. He was also willing to work hard, and at such a young age he became the #1 core disciple. Many people felt that with Shao Chen around, the Purple Flame sect would be able to suppress the Divine Firmament sect in the future. However, no one expected that Feng Yu of the Divine Firmament Gate was a nobody before he turned 18. The moment he appeared, he kicked up a strong wind in the entire Black Cave Mountain. He was like an existence born to restrain Ling Yu. Ever since he appeared, he instantly overshadowed Ling Yu's limelight in the Black Cave Mountain. Under his lead, the Divine Firmament sect's core disciples repeatedly came to the Purple Flame sect's greeting of swords' edges to mock and humiliate them. It was rumored that his master was the Thunder Blade Xiang Tian. He started practicing the saber at the age of 6 and comprehended saber intent at the age of 8. Later, he was taken in as the Thunder Blade Xiang Tian's last disciple. It was only 2 years ago that he began to show his talent. He had been a nobody for 18 years. As soon as he made his debut, he showed off his abilities, displaying the domineering aura of all the outstanding talents of the Black Cave Mountain's younger generation. He obtained the title of Little Thunder Saber. Like Yi Zifeng, the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian was one of the Grave Sea's 10 great bladesmen. Like Yi Zifeng, Thunder Saber Xiang Tian was also a supreme elder of the Divine Firmament sect. Aside from his shocking talent in the Saber Dao, his comprehension of the Thunder Dao was equally shocking. Most importantly, he had also perfectly fused the two and reached the realm of controlling lightning with his saber. In the past, no matter how much Ling Yu improved, he would eventually lose to the other party. However, Ling Yu easily defeated Feng Yun this time, allowing the Purple Flame sect's core disciples to see a trace of hope. "Senior brother, I'm sorry," Feng Yun said in a low voice before the Little Thunder Saber, feeling somewhat guilty after his defeat. Feng Yu fell into deep thoughts and shook his head. "It's my fault. I underestimated his room for improvement. I shouldn't have reminded you. You've already lost in terms of aura, and you've underestimated his improvement in strength. If you didn't know anything from the start, you wouldn't have lost so miserably just because of your bravery. If I gave you another chance, you wouldn't have lost so miserably. It's not that you're weak, don't think too much about it." A glint flashed in Shao Chen's eyes. This Little Thunder Saber was truly extraordinary. Ling Yu showed rage on his face as he said, "Feng Yu, it's your turn. There's no rush. No matter how much you improve, you will always be surpassed by me." Feng Yu let out a long laugh. His figure flashed, and he landed on the arena. Boom! In an instant, the sky darkened. Endless thunderclouds gathered above the arena from all directions. Thunder rumbled and the sky darkened. Bolts of lightning streaked across the sky, and the weather within a radius of 100 miles changed. Will of thunder. He actually comprehended the will of thunder. Everyone was shocked. Feng Yu was only 21 years old, and he actually comprehended the will of thunder. The moment Shao Chen appeared, he shocked everyone. No one had expected that he had already comprehended the will of thunder. "Ling Yu, if you can receive 3 moves from me, it will be considered your win. I will personally expel the lightning from your senior brothers' and sisters' bodies." Feng Yu had a calm expression as he held his saber. 9 moves? Ling Yu's expression changed slightly. "Only 9 moves? This Feng Yu is really underestimating me. After these 3 moves, I will not return to the Purple Flame sect for 3 years." Feng Yu's expression did not change as he continued. The moment Feng Yu said that, the crowd burst into an uproar. In the past few years, every time Feng Yu led a team to the greeting of swords' edges, it was torture for the Purple Flame sect disciples. Now, Feng Yu actually decided not to come again. A cold smile appeared on Shao Chen's face. This fellow was really scheming. The fiendish demon battlefield would open 2 months from now. All Xiao Chen needed to do was severely injure Ling Yu in 9 moves. If he prevented Ling Yu from entering the fiendish demon battlefield, he would miss out on a great opportunity. He would lose the chance to catch up to the little thunder saber Feng Yu. That way, there would be no need to come to the Purple Flame sect every few months to deal a blow to Ling Yu. The many core disciples of the Purple Flame sect felt somewhat nervous, not knowing how Ling Yu would answer. On one hand, they wanted their martial uncle Ling Yu to agree to help them, the core disciples, gain some glory. On the other hand, they feared that Feng Yu was up to something, feeling nervous. "All right, I agree." Ling Yu's eyes flickered for a moment as he decisively made his decision. He did not believe that he could not receive 3 moves from the other party. 1 move. Clang. A saber light flashed, and Feng Yu's scabbard flew into the air, turning into a flash of purple electric light as it shot towards Ling Yu. In the sky, the heavy sound of thunder resounded. The sound of thunder shook the 4 directions. Ling Yu's face sank, but he did not choose to retreat. He raised his hand and punched. Bang! The fist light clashed with the scabbard. Ling Yu's figure trembled, and he grunted as he took a few steps back. His aura immediately weakened significantly. That scabbard actually attracted lightning in the surroundings. The energy it contained far surpassed Ling Yu's imagination. 2 moves. Right after Ling Yu spoke, he saw Feng Yu press forward, his footwork turning illusory. With every step Feng Yu took, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky. As the electric light shone, Feng Yu's figure suddenly vanished, leaving only 9 saber lights flickering endlessly. Divine Firmament 9 changes. This greatly startled Ling Yu. He simply had not expected Feng Yu to have practiced a consummate technique of the Divine Firmament sect that was extremely difficult to master. All the Purple Flame sect disciples at the greeting of Sword's edges were stunned. "Oh no! Junior brother is in danger." Divine Firmament 9 changes. He actually managed to practice the Divine Firmament 9 changes. Only now did everyone startle awake. No wonder Feng Yu dared to say that he could defeat Ling Yu in 3 moves. It turned out that he had already practiced the Divine Firmament 9 changes. Feng Yu's figure vanished from the arena, and the 9 saber lights pierced towards Ling Yu from different directions. Each saber light drove countless bolts of lightning. The entire sky turned dark. This Divine Firmament 9 changes was not as simple as the saber lights splitting into 9 and disappearing. The more horrifying thing was that each saber light drove lightning, materializing a boundless berserk mysterious phenomenon. What should I do? I can block 6 saber lights at most. Chapter 1668. Divine Firmament 9 changes. This was one of the Divine Firmament sect's martial techniques with the highest requirement for comprehension ability. The moment it was executed, it immediately put Ling Yu in a predicament. Everyone in the Purple Flame sect was stunned. The 9 saber lights stirred up a change in the world. The power of the world they drove was horrifying. Furthermore, it was just 2 moves. The little thunder saber Feng Yu still had 1 more move to make. "I'll block the 6 saber lights first." Ling Yu made up his mind. After receiving the 6 saber lights, he used his physical body to block the last 3. His physique had already improved significantly. 3 saber lights would not injure him too severely. He just needed to block 1 more saber light. Cloud-shattering heavenly star fist. Starlight flickered. In the blink of an eye, Ling Yu threw 6 punches with all his might. Every time Xiao Chen punched, he shattered a saber light. The shattered saber lights turned into spots of purple light floating in the air. Only 3 saber lights remained. Sweat dripped down Ling Yu's forehead. 6 punches was already his limit. He could only use his body to block the remaining 3 saber lights. He moved his feet and circulated his veritable essence energy, doing his best to avoid getting injured in his vital points. However, just at this moment, the 3 saber lights merged into 1. The thunderclouds for 50 kilometers around suddenly gathered and turned into a clump of dense black clouds. In that instant, the saber light burst forth with resplendent electric light. Wu Yun's physical body also suddenly appeared at this moment, swinging down with his saber. The electric light that the saber light triggered was like a purple flood dragon bearing its fangs and claws, looking like it was alive. Ling Yu was greatly startled. He had not expected Feng Yu's divine firmament 9 changes to be so exquisite. It's over. This saber strike was fast and very fast. The angle was also very tricky. The most serious thing was that it completely surpassed Ling Yu's expectations. This was not part of his plan. This turn of events put Ling Yu in an extremely disadvantageous position. 3 moves. Feng Yu revealed a confident smile. The flood dragon roared ferociously, and the saber light chopped down. At this moment, the Divine Firmament Sect core disciples all slowly stood up with smiles on their faces. Anyone with eyes could tell that Ling Yu was finished. Even if he used his Great Desolate Aeon bloodline, Feng Yu still had his Great Desolate Aeon bloodline. At that time, Ling Yu would only be more severely injured and suffer in even more miserable defeat. The expressions of the Purple Flame Sect disciples were different. After this saber strike, their martial uncle would not be able to recover within 2 months. At that time, the fortuitous encounters in the fiendish demon battlefield would not be fated with him. Chi. Something strange happened. The disciples of the 2 sects in the greeting of Sword's Edges only saw a gust of strong wind. It seemed like a figure dashed forward. In the next moment, a figure suddenly appeared beside Ling Yu. Martial uncle? Ling Yu exclaimed in shock. Xiao Chen had actually come to this arena. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. As he looked at the saber light above his head, he entered deep thought. Then he gently tapped with his sharp spirit finger. What? The terrifying lightning flood dragon entered Xiao Chen's body. Like a river entering the ocean, it was silent and unresponsive. The saber in Feng Yu's hand was sent flying. The entire world was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. They rubbed their eyes, not daring to believe what they were seeing. Xiao Chen had already comprehended the thunder domain. Furthermore, he cultivated the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation, a lightning-attributed cultivator. If this saber strike had been an energy of another attribute, Xiao Chen would not have been able to receive it so easily. However, it was lightning. That was nothing. The 10,000 Tribulation Divine Lightning, which was several times stronger than this, was hidden in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness. Dang! Feng Yu's saber stabbed 3 centimeters into the arena surface. Feng Yu's expression was incredibly unsightly, filled with disbelief. He asked sullenly, "Who are you? Don't you know the rules of the greeting of Sword's Edges?" Xiao Chen stopped Ling Yu, who was about to speak. He said indifferently, "Naturally, I know the rules of the greeting of Sword's Edges. No one is allowed to interfere in a duel, including the disciples and seniors of the sect, no matter how severe the casualties are." Feng Yu stepped forward and drew his saber. Electric light flickered on the saber. He said sternly, "Since you know, you still dare to break the rules. In that case, even if I kill you now, your Purple Flame Sect seniors will not dare to say anything." Feng Yu was furious. Aside from the other party easily breaking the second transformation of the Divine Firmament 9 changes, Xiao Chen had also foiled his plan to cripple Ling Yu. It turns out that the people of the Purple Flame Sect are all so ignorant of the rules. The sect is already in decline, about to fall back to a rank 3 sect at any moment. To think that they do not even follow the rules now. Where are the Purple Flame Sect elders? When I return, I will definitely get my Divine Firmament Sect elders to judge this. The Divine Firmament Sect disciples mocked Feng Yu coldly, trying to boost their senior brother's reputation. The various core disciples of the Purple Flame Sect felt confused, as they did not know Xiao Chen at all. "Indeed, I broke the rules. What do you want?" Xiao Chen did not care. After all, he was not a member of the Purple Flame Sect. Why would he need to follow so many rules? Xiao Chen was not afraid of this little thunder saber. If the other party made a move, then his hands just happened to be itching recently. Xiao Chen also cultivated the Thunder Dao. He wanted to see who had a deeper comprehension of the Thunder Dao and who had a deeper comprehension of the Saber Dao. "Are you seeking death?" When Feng Yu saw Xiao Chen's indifferent expression, he became enraged. Seeing that the matter had blown up, Ling Yu felt somewhat apprehensive, afraid that Xiao Chen would get injured in the fight with Feng Yu. He quickly said, "Feng Yu, he is my master, Yi Zifeng's junior brother. He is not a member of our sect, so he can ignore some rules. In today's fight, consider it my loss. You don't have to honor your bet." Startled cries immediately rang out. No one expected Xiao Chen to have such a great background. Senior Yi Zifeng's junior brother? That can't be. How could Senior Yi Zifeng have a half-step primal core realm junior brother? Could he be Pan Huang's disciple as well? However, Ling Yu would not joke about such a thing, right? All sorts of discussions rang out, all of them expressing confusion, doubt, and shock. A brilliant light flashed in Feng Yu's eyes. He said seriously, "Yi Zifeng's junior brother? Since when did Senior Yi Zifeng have a junior brother like you? Could it be that you are also Pan Huang's disciple? What a joke." Right after Feng Yu spoke, his figure flashed, and he directly hacked at Xiao Chen with his saber. "No matter who you are, since you dare to break the rules and spoil my plans, you will have to pay the price." Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes, and the cycle heart silently bloomed in his sea of consciousness. The state of cycle spread throughout his entire body. Everyone's movements turned slow in his eyes. In the Great Thousand Realms, it was much harder to execute the state of cycle than in the Kunlun realm. It could be maintained for even shorter periods of time, not even an instant. However, when facing an opponent of Feng Yu's level, Xiao Chen needed to bring out the state of cycle if he wanted to win quickly after the other party drew his saber. Even if it took less than an instant, it would be sufficient. A saber light arrived first despite being launched later. The lunar shadow saber was drawn. The gentle autumn water of the moonlight flickered on the saber, looking like ripples of water. The melodious sound of the saber being drawn sounded like spring water dripping from the mountains, pleasing and relaxing. This startled Feng Yu. He had not expected Xiao Chen's saber light to be so fast and so ruthless. The instant it appeared, it broke Feng Yu's saber technique. Feng Yu took 4 or 5 steps back, and his expression suddenly turned grave. "You're drawing the saber." Everyone used the saber. They all knew that the seemingly simple drawing the saber contained a lot of skill. Whether a bladesman's saber Dao cultivation was high or not, one could easily tell from drawing the saber. Xiao Chen's drawing the saber had already reached a certain level. Feng Yu could sense many things that others could not. In that instant, the other party's saber technique already surpassed Feng Yu's. Furthermore, Feng Yu's cultivation was higher than Feng Yu's, and Feng Yu had made the first move. However, Feng Yu was the one who retreated. Just looking at the facts, there was no need to say anything. A long saber wound appeared on Feng Yu's chest. Blood flowed out and dyed his clothes red. "I still did not dodge it. How is this possible?" Feng Yu's expression changed completely, greatly startled. As he looked at Xiao Chen, he could not understand. "I clearly dodged it already. How could I still get injured?" "You don't understand? It's normal that you don't understand. Now that you understand, how can I deal a heavy blow to you?" Xiao Chen retorted indifferently, "You don't understand? In that case, go back and practice for a few more years. With your level, don't come back to the Purple Flame sect. You will only be humiliating yourself and embarrassing your master." It was like thunder roared in Feng Yu's mind. His eyes turned horrified. "That's impossible. How could I embarrass my master? I started practicing the saber at 6 and only made my debut at 18. Chapter 1669. Xiao Chen's first use of the state of cycle in the Great Thousand Realms stunned the Divine Firmament sect's Little Thunder Saber Feng Yu. Even now, he still could not understand how he had been struck by Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was overconfident, believing that he could definitely enter the top 10 of the younger generation of the Grave Sea in the Saber Dao. Even if he was not in the top 3, he was definitely within the top 10. Moreover, this was only a conservative estimate. In his heart, he even felt that he was number 1. Before Xiao Chen appeared, the truth was more or less the same. None of the bladesmen of the same generation in the three blessed lands could defeat him. Those bladesmen who could defeat Xiao Chen were undoubtedly true inheritors of the various sections. They were already of a higher generation. Xiao Chen still had time to catch up. However, Xiao Chen was only a half-step primal core cultivator. He simply could not figure it out. Fellow Taoists from the Divine Firmament chapter, aren't you going to treat your senior brother's injuries? When Xiao Chen saw that whatever little thunder saber kept muttering to itself, he felt somewhat annoyed. With a glance, he gestured for the Divine Firmament sect disciples outside the pavilion to take Feng Yu away. The few of them immediately blushed. They had come to the Purple Flame sect many times, but this was the first time they were ordered like this. Senior brother, let's go. So. A few Divine Firmament sect core disciples flew to the arena in the cloud and helped Feng Yu up. Feng Yu woke up from his stupor and looked at Xiao Chen crazily. I had dodged it. Why was I still stabbed? He could not accept this result at all. This was even more humiliating than being defeated. How could he not understand it? Who was he? He was the proud disciple of Thunder Dao Xiang Tian. He was known as the disciple most likely to inherit his master's title. If Xiao Chen could not even understand the saber techniques of his peers, that would be a huge joke. Xiao Chen recalled some things and said indifferently, go back and practice for a few more years. I have practiced the saber for many years, and you have practiced the saber for many years. There is nothing hard to accept. The other party resembled Xiao Chen when he was young. They both cultivated the Thunder Dao and had the same talent for the saber. It was just that their experiences were different and their personalities were different. Perhaps one day he would surpass her, but not now. Brother Feng Yu, we can go now. Although Ling Yu had lost, he was extremely happy to see Feng Yu's current appearance. Who told you to keep coming to the Purple Flame sect to cause trouble? Let's see if you still dare to come in the future. The Divine Firmament sect disciples felt embarrassed. They could not stay any longer, so they quickly left with Feng Yu. After the other party left, Ling Yu immediately asked, Martial uncle, how did you do it? I did not understand that move either. You are not a bladesman. There is no point in asking these questions. That's true. It's not good. Ling Yu face-bombed and said, I forgot to get those Divine Firmament sect disciples to remove the electric light from my senior brother's bodies. Xiao Chen said softly, that's not a problem. Let me do it. Xiao Chen was still very confident in the Thunder Dao. So, he checked on the injured core disciples. Xiao Chen sent his veritable essence energy into the other party's body. Without any hesitation, he absorbed all the tyrannical lightning-attributed veritable essence energy from the other party's body. Xiao Chen had already cultivated the Thunder Domain, which was an entire level higher than Feng Yu's Will of Thunder. This tyrannical lightning-attributed veritable essence energy was nothing to him. That's great. The three core disciples, who had originally looked weak and worried, now revealed a hint of joy. This way, they could still enter the fiendish demon battlefield 2 months from now and seek their own fortuitous encounters. Many thanks. Are you really Senior Ye's junior brother? The rescued disciples asked out of curiosity after they expressed their thanks. Xiao Chen thought for a while before replying, you can say that. I already dealt with the electric light in your bodies. You will be fine after a few days of rest. These people were greatly startled. They had not expected Yi Zifeng to have such a young junior brother. No matter what, it is all thanks to Martial Uncle this time. Otherwise, who knows how long this Feng Yu would continue to be arrogant. In the past few years, our Purple Flame sect has been in a sorry state because of him. Furthermore, those true inheritors could not make a move, so they could not do anything to him. Martial Uncle, you really did a good deed for the Purple Flame sect. This is the first time I saw Feng Yu suffer so much, feeling so sullen. However, the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian is extremely protective of his disciples. Martial Uncle, you have to be careful after injuring his disciples. Right. That Feng Yu has another senior brother who is a true inheritor. He is already an early-stage major primal core cultivator, and his talent is no weaker than Feng Yu's. Furthermore, he has cultivated longer and is even harder to deal with. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not think too much. He did not believe that the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian would really attack him. After this matter, Xiao Chen recalled that the opening of the fiendish demon battlefield was getting closer. He really had to make more preparations. Just by looking at the fight between the core disciples of the Purple Flame sect and the Divine Firmament sect, one could see how intense the competition in the fiendish demon battlefield was. Furthermore, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Every blessed land had dozens of sections. Xiao Chen did not fear the core disciples. However, even the true inheritors of rank 3 sects were a threat to him, not to mention the true inheritors of rank 4 sections. However, the various sects did not have many true inheritors. The requirements to become a true inheritor were extremely harsh. Take the Purple Flame sect, for example. Xiao Chen seemed to know that there were only 5 or 6 true inheritors. Since he was going to the fiendish demon battlefield, he did not want to be just a passerby. Xiao Chen needed to seek guidance from Yi Zifeng. Coincidentally, he had to ask about the questions he had 3 days ago as well. After chatting with the Purple Flame sect core disciples for a while, Xiao Chen took his leave. Ling Yu's eyes darted around, and he quickly followed. Martial uncle, when does the special training you mentioned start? Xiao Chen recalled that Ling Yu was talking about killing Qi training. Let's start tomorrow. I happen to cultivate the Saber Dao as well. After this special training, when you meet that Feng Yu in the future, your chances of victory should be much higher. There is still a bottle of life juice source here. Refine it as well. Try to break through to the late-stage minor primal core realm in 2 months. Ling Yu immediately went wild with joy. This was truly timely help. In the past few days, he had already personally experienced the benefits of the highest quality life juice source. At the summit of the mountain, where the immortal mist was the densest, was Yi Zifeng's closed-door cultivation place. This was the forbidden land of the Purple Flame sect disciples. Xiao Chen went up unobstructed and discovered that Yi Zifeng had already appeared long ago, apparently waiting for him. You should not have made a move. At the very least, you should have waited until you broke through to the primal core realm before making a move. Xiao Chen knew that he could not hide the matter of the greeting of sword's edges from Yi Zifeng. He only asked, why? When the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian was young, he lost to me once. He was not convinced and wanted to fight me. I have been avoiding him for the past few years. His disciple kept coming to seek trouble for Ling Yu. In reality, he was the one who incited it. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. Senior brother, are you saying that I ruined his plan? Yes, but that is just a small matter. I have been waiting for you for a long time already. Actually, I also have some questions that I want to ask you. Senior brother, may I ask? What exactly is your bloodline? This question stunned Xiao Chen. After hesitating for a while, he answered honestly, the dragon race's blue dragon bloodline. Yi Zifeng revealed an expression of understanding. Then he muttered, no wonder your aura back then felt familiar but also hard to recall. The Azure Dragon bloodline. That makes sense. However, why are you still alive? I really cannot figure it out. This greatly startled Xiao Chen. He simply could not understand why Yi Zifeng said that. It is very strange, right? I find it strange as well. You are only a peak veritable personage, but you already opened a soul pool. If it were an ordinary person, their soul would have scattered long ago. However, you are still alive and well. Xiao Chen revealed a doubtful expression. Soul pool? What is that? That is the place where soul Dao cultivators store soul energy. It is the most mysterious place in the human body. It is hidden in the forehead, at the end of the sea of consciousness. Don't check it. With your cultivation, you will not be able to sense it. Xiao Chen's heart immediately thumped heavily. He immediately thought of the immortal pill that he swallowed before he transmigrated. Don't overthink. The world is vast, and there are all sorts of wonders. Even the blue dragon bloodline, which disappeared for tens of thousands of years, can reappear. What else is impossible? In any case, you will not understand. Yi Zifeng's words made Xiao Chen relax. There was indeed no need to dwell on this question. I want to enter the fiendish demon battlefield. Senior brother, Please help me. It was better to return to reality and worry about things that were closely related to his strength. Chapter 1670. Fiendish Demon Battlefield? Yi Zifeng said softly, I know. Before you came, I already told the sect master about this. At that time, the Purple Flame sect will have a spot for you. However, Xiao Chen thought to himself, this senior brother is really thoughtful. Before I even said anything, he already took care of this matter in advance. However, what is it? However, don't overthink it. With your strength, you are not at the peak of the entire Black Cave Mountain. In the 3 blessed lands, the gap is even greater. You are not on the same level as the top 10 true inheritors. Yi Zifeng's words were already very tactful. If it were someone else, they would have been much more direct. With your strength, don't overthink it. Just go in and play. That was the general gist of it. When Xiao Chen heard that, he was stunned. However, this was the truth. After all, every sect had true inheritors. True inheritors were not like Ling Yu and Feng Yu, who had high talent but mediocre cultivation. Instead, true inheritors were at least major primal core cultivators. In the outside world, any true inheritor could rival a rank 3 sect elder like Elder Tang. The peak true inheritors might not be much weaker than the Iron Hand Yama. There was no helping it. They had high talent, abundant resources, strong bloodlines, and high cultivations. They were at the peak in every aspect. All in all, their combat prowess would naturally be terrifyingly high. If you want to gain something, you need to break through to the primal core realm. However, I don't think you can break through this bottleneck quickly. Personally, I do not recommend forcefully breaking through. There is no need to waste your future for a fiendish demon battlefield. Yi Zifeng's suggestion was very far-sighted. If one forcefully broke through, they would not be able to fully unleash the strong foundation that they laid in the veritable essence stage. Using short-term benefits in exchange for long-term benefits was indeed not very wise. After gaining Yi Zifeng's opinion, Xiao Chen's originally somewhat restless heart about the fiendish demon battlefield slowly calmed down. Compared to his senior brother, Xiao Chen's mentality is still somewhat lacking. Many thanks for senior brother's advice. Otherwise, I really would not know when I would be able to calm down, Xiao Chen said sincerely with a cupped fist salute. Yi Zifeng smiled warmly. How unfortunate. If you were born earlier, Master would definitely like you a lot. When I was your age, I couldn't see through it. There was a hint of guilt in his eyes. When he was young, he seemed to have done something impulsive. Xiao Chen didn't want to ask too much, so he changed the topic. Senior brother, is Master still alive? At the mention of Pan Huang, Yi Zifeng revealed a smile. Master opened his 9 acupoints many years ago, opening 9 divine veins in his body. His physical body is already immortal, reaching an undying body. If there are no accidents, he can live for a very, very long time, so long that he can't live any longer. But with Master's personality, it's hard to say. Xiao Chen had heard from the Jiao snake that Pan Huang naturally liked to take risks and was restless and calm. He liked to go to the most dangerous forbidden areas. The places he went to were definitely forbidden areas that could threaten his life. It was hard to say whether he would be able to survive until now. Yi Zifeng waved his hand, and a string of Buddhist beads and a bottle of medicinal pills floated toward Xiao Chen. This is... Xiao Chen said, feeling doubtful. Yi Zifeng said softly, previously, when I stood guard for you, I discovered that you already started to practice the Buddhist sect's profound grade saber technique, the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. You even comprehended the saber's true meaning. With this saber technique, I don't need to give you the secret manual of the saber. When I visited the hidden spirit temple in the past, an esteemed monk who condensed a bodhisattva gave me this Buddhist bead. I believe it will be of some help to you. There is also a bottle of purple cloud pill, a medicinal pill for treating injuries. I refined it in my free time. Although we do not purposely go to the fiendish demon battlefield, we still have to snatch the fortuitous encounters that we should. After all, it is a remnant that a divine vein powerhouse left behind. If not for the fact that senior brother cannot enter, Even I would be interested in it, much less those true inheritors. Xiaochen rejoiced in his heart. This senior brother of his was really good. The most important thing was that Xiaochen had heard from Lingyu that Yi Zifeng rarely gave gifts. However, when he did, it would definitely be an important gift. Thank you, senior brother. After obtaining the bracelet and the medicinal pill, Xiaochen left in joy. As Yi Zifeng watched Xiaochen leave, he muttered, "We both came from the Kunlun realm. Back then, Master might have been like junior brother now. However, he possesses the blue dragon bloodline. Don't make the same mistake I did back then." Yi Zifeng had only entered the Purple Flame sect for a few days, but he had already helped Xiaochen a lot. First, he resolved the Black Lotus Church's pursuit. Next, he protected Xiaochen, preventing his bloodline from being exposed. Now, Yi Zifeng gave Xiaochen a precious bracelet and life-saving medicinal pills. This was completely unlike the senior brother that he had just met. Xiaochen remembered all these favors in his heart. Xiaochen returned to Ling Yu's courtyard. The first thing Xiaochen did was take out the Buddhist beads and study them. The Buddhist beads were polished from the scarlet pearls, one of the 7 treasures of the Buddhist sections. The pearls were red and glossy, and there were a total of 12 of them. Each of them had Buddhist scriptures carved on them. The scarlet pearls were said to be born in the bellies of a rare fish beast that lived in a forbidden sea. That kind of fish beast was naturally intelligent and had lived for many epochs. They were very rare. The people of the Buddhist sects revered them as holy beasts. After they died and were cremated, they would produce pearls similar to the sariras of eminent monks, the scarlet pearls. According to the legends of the Buddhist sects, the ancestor of this fish beast formed a fate with the primitive Buddha before the primitive Buddha became a Buddha. The descendants of these fish beasts were born with a Buddhist nature and could stand shoulder to shoulder with eminent monks. Over the epochs, the number of such fish beasts had dwindled. Hence, every scarlet pearl was a priceless treasure that could be formed into a string of Buddhist beads. Furthermore, they had the support of eminent monks all year round. The value of their existence was immeasurable. Most of the time, these Buddhist beads polished from scarlet pearls were known as sariras. Xiaochen had spent a lot of effort in the Book of the Epics before he managed to find this information. After Xiaochen learned of it, he was startled. Back then, the eminent monk that gave senior brother the Buddhist beads must have held an extremely high position in the hidden spirit temple. For senior brother to give it to Xiaochen would not be able to repay this favor. It looked like senior brother was really worried about Xiaochen clashing head-on with those true inheritors. Xiaochen also did not want Xiaochen to force a breakthrough in the heat of the moment, wasting the foundation that he laid earlier. Senior brother really put in a lot of thought. Without breaking through, Xiaochen would have to fight with these true inheritors. The 3 moves of the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique were undoubtedly Xiaochen's greatest trump cards. Breaking the mundane, resolving the mundane, and entering hell. As long as Xiaochen refined one move, he would be able to fight with those true inheritors. Learning 2 moves would be sufficient for him to compete with them. Mastering all 3 moves would allow him to suppress them. Understanding his senior brother's intentions, Xiaochen no longer hesitated. He held the Sarira Buddhist beads in his right hand and closed his eyes to comprehend them. Xiaochen circulated breaking the mundane in his body as he gently moved the Buddhist beads with his thumb. Soon, the Buddhist beads gave off a faint light. A gentle Buddhist light radiated from Xiaochen's palm, covering him in a layer of pure and holy light. Xiaochen did not know anything about Buddhism. He only managed to comprehend the true meaning of breaking the mundane after seeing what happened to the iron hand Yama. By chance, Xiaochen understood that since the Buddha heart existed, he was Buddha. Whether it was broken or not, it did not matter. Only then did he comprehend the true meaning of the saber. However, Xiaochen had only just reached the threshold. He had not truly condensed the Buddha heart, so the swastika on his forehead could not appear. Now, with these Buddhist Sarira pearls, he would be like half an esteemed monk when he held them. Although Xiaochen could not explain the Buddhist principles, he could understand them in his heart. Cultivating the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique would definitely yield twice the result with half the effort. Combined with Xiao Chen's high comprehension ability, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Many people could not comprehend the true meaning of Buddhist sect martial techniques because they did not understand the Buddhist Dharma. With these Saraira Buddhist beads, Xiao Chen would be very different. He would be able to sweep away the greatest obstacle to cultivating the Buddhist sect's cultivation techniques and martial techniques. Suddenly, Xiao Chen's various experiences flashed through his mind like a painting. As the painting unfolded in this gentle Buddhist light, it was like he experienced the mundane world all over again. This time, Xiao Chen's comprehension was even deeper than the previous time. The number of scenes that appeared was also several times greater. Countless scenes layered over each other, bringing out the pinnacle of the mundane world's troubles. Birth, old age, sickness and death, resentment and hatred, separation from love, unattainable. However, Xiao Chen's heart was already as clear as a mirror. With the Saraira Buddhist beads in hand, he could see everything clearly. Xiao Chen shouted, and the mundane world turned into flames, burning fiercely in the entire room. Breaking the precepts and leaving, achieving peace. Furthermore, using the mundane world as a furnace to temper my Buddha heart. As the fire burned, it looked very scary. Xiao Chen stood in the center of the fire, his eyes closed as he held the Saraira Buddhist beads. A Buddhist light shone on his palm, looking calm. The strand of golden Buddhist light on Xiao Chen's forehead grew increasingly resplendent as if it would come out at any moment. Chapter 1671. The Mundane World as a Furnace, Forging My Buddhist Heart. Amid the flames of the mundane world, Xiao Chen held the Buddhist Saraira pearls, releasing a gentle Buddhist light from his entire body. Xiao Chen used this fierce flame to continuously refine himself, seeking to condense a Buddhist heart. As the mundane world churned, Xiao Chen, who was like an old monk in meditation, appeared unmoving. In reality, he was reincarnated in the mundane world again and again. One moment, he was a merchant. The next moment, he was a commoner. The next moment, he was a general. The next moment, he was an elegant noble clan young master. Every incarnation ended in misery, experiencing all sorts of suffering. This cycle continued for a total of 7 days. Then, the resplendent golden light on Xiao Chen's forehead finally turned into a swastika and flew out. As the swastika spun on Xiao Chen's forehead, it gave off an intense and piercing golden Buddhist light. Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes. As he held the Buddhist Saraira pearls, he looked like a glaring guardian deity. An extremely tyrannical Buddhist might spread out. The flames that the mundane world turned into vanished. Now, only the solemn Buddhist might that belonged to him remained in the entire cultivation room. That Buddhist might was tyrannical and ferocious, containing a murderous aura. It did not tolerate any small tricks or impurities, exuding might without anger. With a thought, Xiao Chen's hand, which was fiddling with the Buddhist Saraira pearls, suddenly stopped. The swastika on his forehead returned. The Buddhist light in the entire cultivation room disappeared in an instant, leaving only silence. Only the lingering gentle Buddhist light on Xiao Chen's body proved that everything that happened earlier was real. But I finally condensed this Buddhist heart. Breaking the mundane can be considered to have reached a higher level. Xiao Chen revealed joy on his face. After 7 days of closed-door cultivation and the support of the Buddhist Saraira pearls, he gained some comprehension of Buddhist principles. In the illusions of the mundane world, Xiao Chen experienced all sorts of life, experiencing all the worries of the world. The short 7 days felt like 70 years. Xiao Chen finally managed to cultivate the Buddhist heart that only esteemed monks of the Buddhist path could. It was just like the skeleton dragon star venerate. When he executed breaking the mundane earlier, he had a swastika on his forehead. However, that was not a true Buddhist heart. It was just a fake Buddhist heart that the skeleton dragon star venerate imitated using his strong soul energy. He did not understand the true meaning of the saber technique or Buddhist principles, so he could not condense a Buddhist heart. He could only use his cultivation to force it. However, Xiao Chen truly had a Buddhist heart. Xiao Chen could already bring out 30% of breaking the mundane smite. Xiao Chen's cultivation was limited, so he could not bring it out. When Xiao Chen reached the Cloud Sea realm, he would naturally be able to unleash the full might of breaking the mundane without any obstruction. This was unlike the skeleton dragon Star Venerate, who could barely bring out 30% of its might with his Cloud Sea cultivation. As he held the Buddhist prayer beads, he started to think. Right now, he had a total of 4 directions for his cultivation. The sabers. Chen needed to. Saber. The sab's saber chin of Saba Chin. The sabers of Sab's techniques sabers of Sab's. Demon Chin Tian Chin Xiao Now. Xiao breaking Chin Chin. Chin, dragon heart. And. Chin. The heaven. Xiao Chen would spend some time comprehending resolving the mundane and entering hell after he broke through to the primal core realm. Next was the army breaking saber technique. After all, breaking the mundane could only be used as a trump card. It exhausted too much energy and could not be used frequently. As for the army breaking saber technique, it was a peak martial technique of the Divine Shield Army. After that, Xiao Chen modified it, turning it into a saber technique with great offensive power. Breaking vast armies, breaking mountains and rivers, breaking stars, and breaking the world. These 4 great killing moves were incredibly mighty. If Xiao Chen continued to cultivate them, there would be many more areas for him to explore. They were very suitable for ordinary battles. As for the final flawless saber technique, it was too weak back then in the Kunlun realm. Now, it looked like it was somewhat lacking in might. Xiao Chen could only give up on it for now. In the future, when his saber Dao improved further, he would perfect it. The second direction was movement techniques. Xiao Chen's current movement technique, the new fish dragon art, was something he had modified from watching ferocious beasts. He used their characteristics to change the angle of his body and raise his speed. At that time, it looked fine. However, now that he thought about it, it was riddled with flaws. Although Xiao Chen was fast, he could not control it as he pleased. He felt like he lost control. In that kind of movement technique, his martial technique and mental cultivation method could not keep up, causing the power of his attacks to decrease. In the end, Xiao Chen's horizons were too narrow. He had not seen many movement techniques. If he had an opportunity in the fiendish demon battlefield, he would have to find a movement technique to make up for this shortcoming. As for what Xiao Chen needed to do now, he had to make full use of the new fish dragon art's nearly uncontrollable speed. The third direction was the physical body. He already had 4 cauldron strength now. However, he had yet to obtain a truly powerful physical body cultivation technique in the Great Thousand Realms. In the end, he did not know how to nourish, circulate, and control his energy. He was unable to bring out the true vital qi of his physical body. He estimated that his physical body could withstand 10 cauldron force without any problem. Unfortunately, without a cultivation technique, he could not cultivate so much strength. The last direction was the power of bloodline. This was the strongest but also the most helpless. He could find fortuitous encounters in the fiendish demon battlefield for movement techniques and physical body cultivation techniques. Alternatively, one could spend a large sum of money to obtain it in an auction. However, the cultivation of bloodline power was very difficult to obtain. As for some of the trump cards that Xiao Chen was already familiar with, he did not need to practice them. Dermic World, the Ice Blood Lightning Dragon, and the Dragon Blood Soul Breaking Finger would all grow stronger as his cultivation increased. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen decided to stake it all on this. Before the fiendish demon battlefield opened, he would focus all his energy on practicing his saber techniques. In order to make his strong points stronger, Xiao Chen would spend the remaining time on the army-breaking saber technique. After refining his Buddha nature for 7 days, Xiao Chen vaguely gained new comprehensions for this army-breaking saber technique. He could infuse a trace of the Buddhist might of the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique's unparalleled ferocity and killing qi into the army-breaking saber technique. It's decided then. I'll familiarize myself with breaking the mundane and continue to strengthen the might of the army-breaking saber technique. Xiao Chen put away the Buddhist Saraira pearls and made up his mind. In the following time, aside from spending 2 hours guiding Ling Yu every day, Xiaochen followed his plan to practice his saber techniques. Ling Yu's strength improved rapidly. Now, he could spar with Xiaochen. The two could be considered to have gained something. Xiaochen used Ling Yu to practice his saber, finding his flaws and improving them. If Ling Yu wanted to defeat Feng Yu, sparring with a bladesman like Xiaochen was undoubtedly the best choice. In the blink of an eye, more than 1 month passed. Before they knew it, the two had made great improvements. By relying on the life juice source that Xiaochen gave Ling Yu successfully broke through to late-stage minor primal core realm. More importantly, under the tempering of Xiaochen's killing qi, Ling Yu's aura underwent a complete transformation. His entire temperament had undergone a complete transformation, and all the edges of his body had become sharper and sharper. The sharpness that Ling Yu unintentionally gave off was pressing and intimidating, giving off a shocking tyranny. As for Xiaochen, his army-breaking saber technique finally reached great perfection. With the addition of the ferocious Buddhist might to the 4 killing moves, one could no longer see any trace of the Divine Shield Army's Thousand Army Sword technique. It became Xiaochen's unique army-breaking saber technique. It even vaguely surpassed the Thousand Army Sword technique. As for breaking the mundane, Xiaochen could control it as he pleased. With a thought, the Buddhist mark on his forehead could appear. Martial uncle, with your current strength, when you use it at full power, you are already no weaker than the true inheritors of our Purple Flame sect. However, your cultivation. Ling Yu, who had seen Xiaochen's many trump cards and horrifying saber techniques, gave Xiaochen an extremely high evaluation. Xiaochen smiled and shook his head. There is no point in saying that. The difference in cultivation is still a difference. We cannot ignore it. Tell me, who are the strongest disciples in the 3 blessed grotto heavens? At the mention of this, Ling Yu felt excited. He nodded and said, the strongest disciple of our Black Cave Mountain is the Divine Firmament Sect's Shangguan Lei. He already reached early-stage major primal core realm long ago, and his talent in the Thunder Dao is exceptionally terrifying. Martial uncle, you have to pay attention to him. He is also the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian's disciple and Feng Yu's senior brother. However, he is different from Feng Yu. Aside from the Thunder Dao, his comprehension of the Wind Dao is similarly startling. He is known as the Wind Thunder Berserk Saber. Xiaochen nodded to indicate that he understood. Just the cultivation of such a person would inspire fear in others. Furthermore, Shangguan Lei cultivated 2 different types of energy at the same time. He could not be underestimated. The strongest disciple of the Heavenly Shaking Mountain is the Confucian Institution's Wang Yueming, a member of the Confucian school. He cultivates righteous qi and follows the Tao of the ancient sages. His sword techniques are grand and majestic, giving off an overwhelming righteous qi. As for the Padala Mountain, they do not pay much attention to the rankings. However, everyone knows that the strongest disciple of the Padala Mountain is the profound light temple's Zhen Yuan. Zhen Yuan's cultivation is very high. I heard that he even cultivated the Iron Dharma body. The strength of his physical body is startling and incredibly strong. Chapter 1672. The Divine Firmament Sect's Shangguan Lei, the Confucian Institution's Wang Yueming, and the Profound Light Temple's Zhen Yuan. Xiaochen silently memorized the names of these 3 people. They were the 3 strongest true inheritors of the Blessed Enclave. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Xiaochen would not fight them head-on. Xiao. Just then, Xiaochen and Ling Yu simultaneously felt a powerful aura descend upon this courtyard. Someone is coming. What a familiar aura. It should be one of our sect's heir disciples. Ling Yu said as he looked at Xiaochen. Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat and he nodded thoughtfully. Let's go out and take a look. The 2 of them walked out of the courtyard and saw a purple-robed young man standing under a small tree in front of the door. Judging from his age, he was probably older than Xiaochen, but not by much. As he stood there, there was a gentle warmth radiating in all directions. Flowers, trees, insects, birds, and beasts all revealed a lazy look, like a warm ray of sunlight in winter. What a powerful flame domain. He could control it as he pleased. It was just a very small detail, but Xiao Chen felt that this purple-clothed youth was not to be underestimated. It's Hua Yunfeng, our sect's top true inheritor. Ling Yu did not dare to be slow. He stepped forward and cupped his hands. Greetings, senior brother Hua. Although he was older than the other party in terms of seniority, he was still young and inexperienced. His strength was also inferior to the other party, so he still had to call him senior brother. Hua Yunfeng chuckled and said, Greetings, little martial uncle. Is senior brother Hua here to look for martial uncle Xiao Chen? Ling Yu asked based on his intuition. Normally, this senior brother Hua was elusive and had never taken the initiative to seek him out. Hua Yunfeng nodded. Then he glanced at Xiao Chen thoughtfully, revealing a confused expression. Xiao Chen said indifferently, Brother Hua, if you have something to say, just say it. The fiendish demon battlefield is about to open. Normally, the competition between the various sects of our Black Cave Mountain is intense. However, at such a time, the various blessed lands would do their best to organize themselves and advance and retreat together. At the very least, when the people from the blessed enclave meet, they can take care of each other. That will be helpful to everyone. Xiao Chen listened carefully and felt that it made sense. However, what does that have to do with me? Xiao Chen retorted confidently. What did this have to do with him? They, the true inheritors, had formed an alliance. How could they think highly of him? Furthermore, Xiao Chen was not considered a member of the Purple Flame sect. He only relied on his backer to obtain a spot, so he was very free. Hua Yunfeng smiled and said, That's right. What does it have to do with you? I can't figure it out either. But the organizer, Shangguan Lei, called you out by name and told me that I must invite you along. Shangguan Lei. The expressions of Xiao Chen and Ling Yu changed at the same time. Ling Yu whispered to Hua Yunfeng about the greeting of swords' edges. After Hua Yunfeng heard that, he revealed a contemplative expression. Then he said softly, No wonder. In that case, you don't have to go. I'll help you. If this Shangguan Lei wants you to go, nothing good will come out of it. It is better not to go. Xiao Chen thought to himself, Hua Yunfeng is really direct. However, if I reject Shangguan Lei like this, won't that incite even greater jealousy? In the end, Xiao Chen voiced the doubts in his heart for Hua Yunfeng's consideration. Hua Yunfeng analyzed that Shangguan Lei has a very good relationship with Feng Yu. To Feng Yu, Shangguan Lei is both a senior brother and half a master. When Feng Yu was young, Shangguan Lei taught him when he practiced the saber. Now that you embarrassed him so much, Shangguan Lei will definitely remember it. I am also very clear on Shangguan Lei's character. He will definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance. When he is not angry, it is like a sudden clap of thunder. Right now, he should not be angry. If we don't go, we might really anger him, making things even more troublesome. Xiao Chen said indifferently, Let's go then. Hua Yunfeng revealed a grateful expression. If Xiao Chen really chose not to go, he would be stuck in a difficult position. Make your preparations. We will depart tomorrow and head for the Divine Firmament sect's thunder-controlling peak. At that time, all the true inheritors of the Black Cave Mountain will be there. No matter what, I will do my best to resolve this conflict. Hua Yunfeng showed some helplessness. Clearly, he felt somewhat depressed that he had to put in so much effort to resolve this matter. Before coming, Hua Yunfeng had not expected something like this to happen between Xiao Chen and Shangguan Lei. However, no matter what, Xiao Chen felt grateful to the other party. At the very least, this Hua Yunfeng was a magnanimous person. He showed everything on his face, not beating around the bush and dealing with things hypocritically. After Hua Yunfeng left, Ling Yu asked in a fluster, somewhat distracted, Martial uncle, what should we do? The strongest true inheritor of the Black Cave Mountain wanted to seek trouble for Xiao Chen. Who could feel at ease? More importantly, Xiao Chen was the cause of this trouble. Xiao Chen looked at the sky with a somewhat complicated expression. After a while, he said to Ling Yu, go out tonight. Let Martial uncle be alone for a while. Martial uncle, don't take things too hard. Ling Yu said somewhat worriedly. Xiao Chen felt speechless in his heart. He smiled bitterly and said, I've experienced several things that were even more difficult and dangerous than this. How can I take things too hard because of this? After Ling Yu left, Xiao Chen sat alone in the courtyard in silence. Ao Jiao flew out of the immortal spirit ring with little yellow feather. Then, she looked at Xiao Chen somewhat worriedly. However, she was not too worried. Seeing Ao Jiao appear, Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. After not seeing her for a long time, Ao Jiao now looked increasingly more human. There was practically no trace of her being an item spirit. In reality, Ao Jiao could no longer be considered an item spirit. Her connection to the lunar shadow saber was so weak that it was negligible. Suddenly, Xiao Chen discovered something strange. He smiled in pleasant surprise and said, Ao Jiao, you grew taller. Really? Ao Jiao exclaimed in shock. She had not noticed this before. Xiao Chen smiled and said, come over and compete with me. A look of embarrassment flashed on Ao Jiao's face as she walked over to Xiao Chen's side. Indeed, she had grown significantly taller. Previously, she had been as tall as Xiao Chen's shoulders. Now, she was as tall as Xiao Chen's chin. Xiao Chen sighed. He felt that time passed really fast. He thought back to when he first met Ao Jiao. Her ferocious appearance was still vivid in his mind. Without her companionship in the Sky Dome realm and the Kunlun realm, Xiao Chen would have died countless times already. Xiao Chen, what are you thinking about? Ao Jiao asked curiously as she stepped back and looked at Xiao Chen. Ling Yu knew that Xiao Chen was definitely not afraid. The Kunlun realm had faced many big scenes and many difficult situations, but Xiao Chen had never feared them. From that inexperienced youth in Mo City to surpassing Ling Yu, then the Thunder King. Now, he surpassed the Kunlun realm and entered the Great Thousand Realms. Xiao Chen had long since become capable of holding his own. He remained calm in the face of danger and dealt with them calmly. Xiao Chen took out the lunar shadow saber. Without drawing it, he just looked at Ling Yu and said, I'm thinking about how to face tomorrow's situation. Unfortunately, there is too little information. I can't think of anything. It was already too late to search for information about Shangguan Lei. There was no point in thinking too much. So? Ao Jiao asked. So, I'll just stop thinking. Clang! Right after Ling Yu spoke, Xiao Chen instantly drew the lunar shadow saber. The streamlined white blade was about half Xiao Chen's height. Not including the hilt, it was already 1 meter long. When the sunlight reflected off it, it gave off a glow like that of autumn water, rippling faintly. Ao Jiao, do you think this saber is sharp enough? Xiao Chen asked softly as he looked at the flickering blade. Ao Jiao did not know what he meant. After thinking for a while, she said, the lunar shadow saber is a peak divine weapon in the Kunlun realm. However, in the Great Thousand Realms, it is only a treasure tool. Even among treasure tools, it is not at the peak. Furthermore, there are even stronger Dao tools above treasure tools. After a pause, Ao Jiao had no choice but to speak the truth. The weapons that the true inheritors of rank 4 sects use are all peak treasure tools. The lunar shadow saber, it is no longer sharp enough. Xiao Chen said sullenly, if a bladesman's saber is not sharp enough, how can he intimidate the weak? There was a faint sorrow on Xiao Chen's face. His white robes were clean, and his tall and straight figure appeared somewhat frail. While Xiao Chen was referring to the lunar shadow saber, he was actually referring to himself. If Xiao Chen were strong and unparalleled, the divine firmament sect's Shangguan Lei would not dare to call him out and humiliate him without any fear. After tomorrow's battle, I will seal the lunar shadow saber. Xiao Chen said softly. Sealing the lunar shadow saber did not mean that he would retire. Instead, he would seal all his past glory and start anew in this Great Thousand Realms. Sealing the saber to show his ambitions. His ambitions were not high, but to continuously surpass himself. Chapter 1673. Sealing the saber? Ao Jiao was startled, feeling somewhat surprised. However, this was within reason. She did not feel too disappointed in her heart. Being able to accompany Xiao Chen to the end of the Sky Dome realm and the Kunlun realm meant that she had completed her mission long ago. After coming to this great thousand realms, there were many things that were unfamiliar to her. She felt somewhat out of place. Actually, the lunar shadow saber was no longer suitable for Xiaochen. However, because of his feelings and reluctance, Xiaochen kept using it until now. As an item spirit, Ao Jiao had a master like Sang Mu in her previous life. Now she had a master like Xiaochen. To Ao Jiao, this was already the greatest fortune. With such a life, what was there to be dissatisfied with? Xiaochen closed his eyes and gently tapped the saber with his right hand. The saber trembled, and a buzzing sound came from the air. Ao Jiao paled as she took 2 steps back. In that instant, Xiaochen had severed the final connection between Ao Jiao and the lunar shadow saber. Master. Feeling a strange pain in her heart, Ao Jiao held her hand over her chest and took a few steps back. Xiaochen turned around and placed Ao Jiao in his left arm. Then he stabbed the lunar shadow saber into the ground. Ao Jiao's body felt somewhat weak. However, her pale face blushed slightly. She smiled and said, "If I don't call you that in the future, I probably won't have the chance to call you master again." Xiaochen sat down and pulled Ao Jiao into his embrace. He revealed a gentle smile as he looked to the front. "You know that I have never treated you as an item spirit. Along the way, I have experienced many obstacles, many trials and tribulations. If not for your company, how could I have survived until today?" Xiaochen lowered his right hand, which held the saber, and grabbed Ao Jiao's smooth left hand tightly. Ao Jiao felt a gentle warmth coming from Xiaochen's palm. She looked at Xiaochen's face, and coincidentally, Xiaochen's gaze landed on her at the same time. Their eyes met. There was no need to say many words. As the gentle breeze blew, Xiaochen's thoughts drifted. He could not help but think of the scene of Ao Jiao hugging him during the recasting of the lunar shadow in Mo City. That day, the spring breeze had stirred the young man's heart, and the seed of ambiguity had already been planted. It was also on that day that Xiaochen became Lunar Shadow's owner. In front of the Thunder King Sang Mu, he swore that he would not let Ao Jiao shed tears. Fortunately, Xiaochen remembered that it was to save Ao Jiao. When he was imprisoned and faced the enemy alone, Ao Jiao cried because her heart ached for him. If he could do it all over again, Xiaochen would still choose to imprison Ao Jiao, putting her in danger. He still remembered the most dangerous 7th layer of the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation. The heart tribulation was very difficult. Between the real and the fake, he was trapped by a heart demon. Ao Jiao risked her life to save him, enduring the final lightning tribulation alone. He slept alone, wishing that he would never wake up from that dream, never opening his eyes for 10,000 years. The relationship between the two was no longer just that of a master and an item spirit. Just at this moment, a few strange sounds that spoiled the mood rang out. Little yellow feathers stood on a tree branch in the courtyard, its back facing the two. It looked up at the sky with an expression that said, "I don't know anything, I can't see anything." Ao Jiao giggled, but she was not willing to get up. "It feels good to be in your embrace. Do you know? I thought a lot earlier. I thought about my previous life and this life. I thought about all the battles I fought for you. If there is a next life, I would really be willing to be the blade in your hand again." However, Xiaochen did not say anything, not saying anything. If there was a next life, he would definitely change his choice. Ao Jiao spoke softly, and Xiaochen listened quietly. Most of the time, it was Xiaochen speaking and Ao Jiao listening. However, today, it was the other way around. This was because Xiaochen knew that their parting might be coming soon. If Xiaochen still did not listen, there would be no more chances. Little yellow feathers' occasional cries accompanied Xiaochen's, and he just listened quietly. Night fell, and the waning moon hung high in the sky. The bleak and cold moonlight filled the courtyard. However, when the moonlight landed on the two, it did not feel cold at all. Instead, they hugged each other even tighter. At some point in time, Ao Jiao stopped speaking, and Xiaochen looked over. Under the bleak and cold moonlight, Ao Jiao's exquisite face looked exceptionally gentle. Her red lips were tender, and there was a faint affection in her eyes. Amid the affection, There was also a trace of anticipation. Xiao Chen lowered his head and paused for a moment. Then, he no longer hesitated and kissed those tender red lips. At this moment, an ambiguous flame ignited with this kiss. Little Yellow Feather, who was on a tree branch, turned around and entered deep thought. Then, it flapped its wings ferociously. A flame surged out, and as the wind blew, it burned the two's clothes clean. Under Little Yellow Feather's deliberate control, the flame did not harm the two at all. However, this only made the ambiguous flame even more intense. Little Yellow Feather nodded in satisfaction. Then, it flapped its wings and soared into the air, not lingering any longer. After a while, the courtyard was filled with the alluring scenery of spring. The two vented the suppressed feelings in their hearts. Early the next morning, when the first rays of sunlight shone down, Xiao Chen opened his eyes with some difficulty. Ao Jiao, who was beside him, was no longer there. When he looked around, the entire courtyard was empty. There was only a sharp blade flickering with a cold light stuck in the ground. Xiao Chen put on his clothes and slowly walked over. Then he pulled the saber out of the ground. As he looked at the autumn water-like luster on the saber's edge, he remained silent for a long time. "Martial uncle, why is there another woman in your courtyard? Furthermore, there is a strange yellow-feathered bird with a bad temper." At some point, Ling Yu had walked in, asking with a confused expression. Disappointment appeared on Xiao Chen's face as he asked softly, "What happened after that?" "Master told me to send them off. When they left the heavenly shaking mountain, that girl told me to pass on a message to Martial Uncle." "What message?" "She told Martial Uncle not to worry about her. She would help Little Yellow Feather search for its race and unlock some of its final memories." Also, as expected, with Little Yellow Feather taking care of her, Xiao Chen did not worry about Ao Jiao's future. He continued, "What else?" "She said that if Martial Uncle finds another saber, don't forget your original intention and change its name to Moon Seeking." When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt stunned. His expression turned somewhat stiff and unsightly. "Don't forget your original intention. Moon Seeking. Which moon?" Ao Jiao knew, and so did Xiao Chen. "Where is she now? How long has she been gone?" After a while, the calm on Xiao Chen's face vanished as he asked impatiently. "She has been gone for a long time already, almost 4 hours. She entered the Trans-Realm Transportation Formation long ago, but I do not know where she went." For a moment, Xiao Chen felt disappointed and frustrated, not saying anything for a long time. "Martial Uncle, are you all right?" Ling Yu asked somewhat worriedly. Later, Martial Uncle still had to go to the Divine Firmament Sect's Thunder Controlling Peak. He did not know how that Shangguan Lei would make things difficult for Martial Uncle. Given Martial Uncle's current state, the situation was not good. Xiao Chen forced a smile and said, "I'm fine. I just need some peace and quiet." Ling Yu left helplessly. Before he left, he shook his head slightly, wondering what Martial Uncle experienced last night. At the stone table, Xiao Chen took out a cup of wine and started drinking alone in silence. After this battle, the Lunar Shadow Saber would be sealed, along with the glory of the past. However, many memories would remain in Xiao Chen's heart, something that he would never forget. "Here's a toast to you." Xiao Chen took out the wine and raised his cup to the Lunar Shadow Saber stabbed into the ground. The saber trembled as though replying to Xiao Chen, "I'll offer you a toast as well." One man and one saber started drinking. The man was drunk, and so was the saber. In the courtyard, the Lunar Shadow Saber buzzed as it moved in the air, dancing in the air. Scenes of the past appeared in the surroundings. Those were scenes of the past, Xiao Chen dancing with the saber. From the Sky Dome realm to the Kunlun realm, and finally, to the battle with Chu Chaoyan. When the scenes ended, Xiao Chen put down his wine cup and stood up. Then, he stretched out his hand and grasped the Lunar Shadow Saber tightly. The saber was like an arm, connected by blood and mind. Looking at the limpid saber, Xiao Chen smiled in satisfaction. Then, he sheathed the saber and walked out of the courtyard. Hua Yunfeng had been waiting for a long time with the 6 true inheritors of the Purple Flame sect. "I've kept everyone waiting," Xiao Chen said with a cupped fist salute. Hua Yunfeng and the other true inheritors knew that Shangguan Lei would make things difficult for Xiao Chen soon. They felt some sympathy for Xiao Chen's misfortune and did not feel upset about waiting. High in the starry heavens, Ao Jiao sat on Little Yellow Feather as they flew to the great realm where the Golden Crow race was. The bliss from last night still lingered on her pretty face. Sealing the saber to show her determination was Xiao Chen's new life. How could it not be Ao Jiao's new life as well? Chapter 1674. Hua Yunfeng looked at Xiao Chen and said sullenly, "Don't overthink. I will do my best to help you deal with it as long as it is within my ability." Xiao Chen nodded and said nothing. There were many fortuitous encounters in the fiendish demon battlefield, competing with the other two blessed lands. Hua Yunfeng had to work together with Shangguan Lei. At the very least, he could not create an opponent like Shangguan Lei for himself, lest it lead to unnecessary conflicts. Of course, Shangguan Lei did not dare to be too presumptuous. He also needed Hua Yunfeng's help to deal with the other two blessed grotto heavens. Between the two, there was only a relationship of using each other. After this point, they would definitely return to their original state. If not for the fact that the fiendish demon battlefield was about to open, no matter what, Hua Yunfeng would have helped Xiao Chen endure it. No matter what, at the very least, Xiao Chen represented the Purple Flame sect. Unfortunately, it just so happened that Xiao Chen could not fall out with Shangguan Lei. From Xiao Chen's point of view, he had no choice but to go. Otherwise, if the other party targeted them in the fiendish demon battlefield, it would be even more problematic. It would be better to deal with it in advance. Unless Xiao Chen was willing to give up on this fortuitous encounter in the fiendish demon battlefield, he would not be able to do so. However, he really couldn't give up. If Xiao Chen could not even clear this stage, he would go to Ancestor Dragon City in the future. So what if they faced those geniuses and outstanding talents who were even stronger than Shangguan Lei? They might as well not go. Xiao Chen didn't think too much about it. He just took it as stepping into the boundless world. Hua Yunfeng raised his head to the sky and roared. After a while, a large eagle flew over from a distant mountain peak. The wingspan was at least 100 zhang. 5 or 6 people standing on it was nothing at all. The eagle brought everyone to Black Cave Mountain's divine firmament sect's thunder-controlling peak. The two sects were not far from each other, and the eagle was extremely fast. It didn't take long before they saw a mountain shrouded in thunderclouds. Purple lightning struck down continuously, illuminating the surroundings. Before Xiao Chen even got close, he could already feel the dense lightning-attributed spiritual energy. He had to admit that this mountain peak of the divine firmament sect was truly blessed by the heavens. If a lightning-attributed cultivator cultivated in this peak, he would definitely improve at a godly speed, far surpassing others. It was somewhat similar to the Thunder Emperor Valley in the Sky Dome realm when Xiao Chen was in the Sky Dome realm. However, the layout was different. Suddenly, the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness leaped about, as if half of it wanted to escape. Xiao Chen quickly suppressed it. If the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning accidentally jumped out, he would be the first to bear the brunt of it and be blasted into meat paste. Even now, Xiao Chen's divine lightning, I could only use the power of the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning a little. As they got closer and closer, the lightning falling from the sky became clearer and clearer. The bolts of lightning were like terrifying ancient dragons that flickered in the sky, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, causing everyone to feel a wave of fear. Lightning had always been the most overbearing manifestation of the wrath of the heavenly Tao. Ordinary people would feel fearful of it. This was especially true for evil demons, spirits, and other such existences. It was a devastating blow. Thunder Controlling Peak. I wonder what the story behind this name is. I heard that the lightning on this Thunder Controlling Peak was left behind by a sovereign personage many years ago after he failed his tribulation. After the Divine Firmament sect occupied this peak, there were people who extracted this tribulation lightning for their own use. Hence, the name Thunder Controlling Peak. A senior brother at the side explained to Xiao Chen when he saw that this was his first time here. Xiao Chen revealed an expression of understanding. No wonder the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in his sea of consciousness stirred, eager to give it a try. It turned out to be a bolt of tribulation lightning. However, Xiao Chen had experienced many lightning tribulations, and the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning did not show any signs of abnormality. It looked like the lightning tribulation of this sovereign personage was indeed extraordinary. Could it be that there is no end to it? Xiao Chen asked casually. Logically speaking, if one continuously extracted it for a long time, it would run out sooner or later. The Divine Firmament sect was a sect where everyone from the sect master to the outer sect disciples cultivated the Thunder Tao. At the very least, not for now. The core source of the lightning did not decrease by much. Furthermore, the Divine Firmament sect laid a lightning guiding formation, replenishing the lightning-attributed energy for a long time. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. This Divine Firmament sect is really ambitious. The lightning guiding formation drains an astronomical amount of resources. They are trying to become a rank 5 sect. This is a fact that everyone knows. Unfortunately, my Purple Flame sect is unable to obtain such a good peak. If we can obtain a Purple Flame divine peak, everyone can cultivate our sect's Purple Flame art. We might even be able to catch up to the Divine Firmament sect. Xiao Chen did not say anything. It looked like the Divine Firmament sect was indeed strong. Even the Purple Flame sect's true inheritors acknowledged their inferiority. After about 7 minutes and a round of inspection, Hua Yunfeng's group finally arrived at the summit of Thunder Controlling Peak. The summit was flattened and turned into a huge platform. A purple plaza was in the center. There were many stone pillars erected in the plaza, and at the top of each stone pillar, there were thunder flames burning, illuminating the entire plaza with brilliant lights. The special aura formed by the thunder flames formed a lightning dome flickering with electricity in the sky above the plaza. It looked like a cage descending, looking very strange. The location of this gathering was this Thunder Flame Plaza. After the group arrived, they discovered that the true inheritors of the other sects of the Black Cave Mountain had already arrived. The Divine Firmament sect's true inheritors sat in the middle of the tall platform. The other sects took their assigned seats. Xiao Chen casually looked around. None of the true inheritors here were below the major primal core realm. Indeed, it was as Xiao Chen expected. Those who could become true inheritors of this blessed land would definitely have high cultivations. Among this group of true inheritors, Xiao Chen stood out. Many people looked at him with doubtful expressions. They found it strange that the Purple Flame sect brought a half-step primal core disciple. What is this? Don't they know that this is a gathering of true inheritors to discuss the alliance? How can they let someone with such low cultivation enter? This is too ridiculous. However, the Purple Flame sect was a rank 4 sect, after all. Everyone was very clear on Hua Yunfeng's strength. Hua Yunfeng was an expert second only to Shangguan Lei. Even in the 3 blessed lands, he could rank within the top 10. Although everyone felt doubtful, no one dared to voice it. Brother Hua, I have been waiting for you for a long time. A purple-clad man with a squarish face and sharp eyes from the Divine Firmament sect's side stood up and spoke to Hua Yunfeng. If Xiao Chen guessed right, this person was Shangguan Lei. I came late. Brother Shangguan, please forgive me. It's fine. I understand. Some honored guests definitely have to put on airs. Shangguan Lei smiled faintly and stepped forward. Let me introduce everyone. This is young Master Xiao Chen. He is Senior Yi Zifeng's junior brother. It was really difficult for him to come this time. The crowd immediately set the place abuzz with some disbelief. Such a young man with such low cultivation was actually Yi Zifeng's junior brother. Who was Yi Zifeng? He was one of the 10 great bladesmen of the Grave Sea. He had already reached peak Star Venerate many years ago. More importantly, Yi Zifeng was Pan Huang's disciple. This was something that the entire Grave Sea knew. Hua Yunfeng showed a somewhat embarrassed expression. Unexpectedly, Shangguan Lei announced Xiao Chen's identity the moment he arrived. Clearly, Shangguan Lei had an ulterior motive, harboring malicious intent. Senior Yi Zifeng is a senior that I respect a lot. He is also the opponent that my master respects the most. However, how did he produce a junior brother like you? You ignored the rules and attacked my junior brother, nearly causing him to fall into a demonic heart. Indeed, Shangguan Lei's face sank, and he changed the topic, shouting directly. Shangguan Lei's shout contained the rage of thunder and the power of the world, causing 100 bolts of lightning in the sky above Thunder Controlling Peak to descend at the same time. Whoosh! With Shangguan Lei's furious shout, the light of the entire platform instantly turned gloomy. Even the 100 bolts of lightning could not illuminate the platform. Everyone's heart sank. Everyone felt a strange pressure. Only now did they understand why Shangguan Lei had sent Xiaochen here. As everyone looked at Xiaochen, they could not help showing a sympathetic gaze. This Shangguan Lei was famous for seeking revenge for the smallest grievance. Anyone who offended him would not have a good ending. Shangguan Lei's furious shout made the 5 Purple Flame sect true inheritors feel somewhat uncomfortable. However, Xiaochen did not react at all. His expression remained the same, not changing at all. Before Hua Yunfeng could say anything, Xiaochen stepped forward and looked at the other party. Shangguan Lei, Wind Thunder Berserk Saber Shangguan Lei. Let me ask you too. How did the Thunder Saber Xiang Tian produce a disciple like you? Shameless, arrogant, and conceited. Shangguan Lei's shout also contained the Thunder Dao. Right after he spoke, he drove 100 bolts of lightning in the sky. However, these 100 bolts of lightning were even more berserk and resplendent than the one Shangguan Lei drove. Under Shangguan Lei's deliberate control, the dim light in the Thunder Flame Plaza suddenly brightened up, restoring its original brightness to its original state. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.